So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here at Rockingham Motor Speedway for round one of the British Drift Championship 2018. Our pro competition is underway, Eddie. We just see a heated qualifying session. We broke those drivers down to our top 24, and we're now ready to get those drivers out on circuit, get them underway and battling for a place in the top 16. Yeah,
it's the business end of the competition, Ian, and it is the most exciting part of the competition. It's what drifting's all about. It's twin battles. We're going to start off with the top 24. There's 8 spaces up for grabs in our top 16, and these 16 drivers are going to have to battle it out to try and gain a spot. We are just hearing record attendance at a British Drift Championship event. Unprecedented levels of interest in this round, and it's just, you know, incredible. And we want to thank all you guys who have made the journey to come here today to Rockingham Motorsport, or Motor Speedway rather, because it is just, you know, it's great to have everybody. We need you here in attendance. If you can't make it, obviously watch online, but there's nothing like seeing it in the flesh.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you don't get the excitement, you don't feel the atmosphere, and there is an atmosphere here. After that qualifying session, you could tell everybody here was, you know, a little bit more amped for it. So I'm ready to get things underway. I know our judges are ready to get things underway. Rockingham Motor Speedway, are you ready for top 24? Oh, that's good, Eddie, but we can do better than that.
I think we can do
better than that, Rockingham Motor Speedway. Rockingham Motor Speedway, are you ready for top 24?
A little bit better.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let's get them excited. Let's get some action on the track. We're ready to go. Let's get the first battle underway, and that will be Sultan Al Qasimi to take on Ian Phillips for a place in that top 16 to then battle Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, that's the prize for these two guys.
That's your prize. That's your prize right now. But listen, a bit of a backstory on this one. Ian Phillips's car, water pump issues. They welded the water pump up just days ago to get that car here for round one. He said it's on limited time. It could go wrong at any point right now. He's having the weekend of a lifetime. This is the best he's done so far in a year with this new chassis. Sultan Al Qasimi, he's just jumped in this brand new car. Was David Egan's, converted it to left-hand drive, the guys at Group D. And he is driving it like he's owned it for years.
He has not looked more comfortable behind the wheel of any car that we've seen him driving in the past. He is fresh off a very successful season in the Emirates Drift Championship. He is coming here with a point to prove. He seems confident. He's driving confident. He's the higher qualifier, but these two guys qualifying 16th and 17th, so very evenly matched going into the first corner. Sultan to leave them in. Ian Phillips to give chase, and look at this. Big entry from both drivers, and both drivers taking it right out to the wall. Dropping wheels though, but keeping it pinned and staying nice and wide out towards the wall. As they switch it back onto the wall. Al Qasimi trying to pull the gap here, but Phillips is just like a dog, just biting at his heels, not willing to give up on this run as he starts to close the gap and go in the door. They switch it back for the final time, and as they cross the line, guys, make some noise for Sultan Al Qasimi and Ian Phillips. Kicking off our top 24 battles in the right way, Ian.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable battle there, Eddie. And like you say, Sultan Al Qasimi doing a sterling job out front, making it very easy for Ian Phillips to chase. You know, it gives him that opportunity to get nice and close. So you can see those guys back on the start line are ready to go. Ian Phillips eager for action on the start line. Sultan Al Qasimi there, ready to go. No headlights. That car looks like it's ready for battle, Eddie.
Yeah, it's an absolute war machine, and they are ready to go to war. Representing Monster Energy, Group D, and of course lunatics by nature. Sultan needs to put in a big chase run here.
Yeah, Ian Phillips was biting on the heels of Sultan in that chase run. What has Sultan got? Ian Phillips to lead, Sultan to give chase, and Ian Phillips with a big entry. Sultan Al Qasimi drops way offline, Eddie. This is uncharacteristic. Ian Phillips looking strong out front in that 350Z. LS powered, look at this, throwing it all the way to the wall. Very shallow though, as they come through this turn, starts to bleed.
Yeah, starts to bleed, and Sultan starts to come back into this one as he gains proximity. This one hasn't been the perfect lead run, hasn't been the perfect chase run, but the proximity towards the end as they go door to door across the line. Rockingham makes some noise.
So yeah, look at that. Ian Phillips, arm out the window, pumped on that run. For me, it started off so well for Ian Phillips. He sent it in good aggression, good speed, but just couldn't keep up with it. It kind of sort of fell apart on the transition as they headed towards the Funk Motorsport grandstand. He kind of wavered offline ever so slightly, and that opened the door for Al Qasimi. Al Qasimi then could approach, get that nice proximity, and we'll see how this one plays out. Looks like the judges are dropping their scores in, and you'll see our new graphic. So if you're just tuning in or you're here today in attendance, you can see the big screen. They're going to slide them left for Phillips, right for Al Qasimi, or they're going to stay with there on flash for one more time. Kieran says Qasimi, so does David, so does Ryan. Unanimous. Sultan Al Qasimi gets the win and goes through. Unfortunately, Ian Phillips bowed out of competition. We go to our judges for their reaction on that.
Yeah, that was good chasing from both drivers there on both runs. It really comes down to the lead run from both drivers. Sultan's lead run was that little bit stronger, giving Phillips an easier line to chase, whereas Phillips getting a poor line for Sultan to chase, and he also managed to stick with him most of the way around. So Sultan with the sort of scrape through there on the lead run.
So there you go, Eddie. Sultan Al Qasimi not getting any easier though. He's going to head into the top 16 against Dwayne McKeever. We move it along. Paul Smokey Smith to take on Simon Perry.
Yes, a battle, Ian, that may have been more interesting had Perry been in his own car, but nonetheless, he will be looking to not give an inch to Paul Smith here. He'll feel as though he is the, more than capable of taking down Paul Smith in this battle. He will be in the chase position though, and he'll be looking to apply that pressure right from the off as Paul Smith leaves the line in the Jap Speed Maxxis GT86. Does Perry have an answer? Perry going very shallow through that first section, Ian.
Yeah, Perry falling offline massively. Paul Smith keeping cool, calm and collected out front in that Maxxis Jap Speed GT86. Look at that, all the way to the wall. Does Paul Smith?
Big error here from Perry as he straightens, almost goes off track and just doesn't seem to have the power to match the speed and fluidity of Paul Smokey Smith. What about that for a lead run? Very deep into some of those outer walls or outer clipping zones and almost tagging walls on the way around as well.
Yeah, exactly. He gets so far deep into clipping point 4. Simon Perry kind of wavers and then massively makes a big correction as they come into clipping point 5.5. Not looking good for Perry. Paul Smith looking strong.
And if Paul Smith was to take it through to the top 16, he would be up against teammate Matt Denham in the top 16. So interesting battles already. Seeing potential for a very interesting top 16. We will have Dwayne McKeever taking on Sultan Al Qasimi. Could we see two Jap Speed drivers face off in the second heat?
We're about to find out, Eddie. They're off the line. Simon Perry to lead. Paul Smith to give chase. Paul Smith just holding back now. Perry on a good line through the first turn. Not as much angle as we expect to see, but borrowed car from his teammate. And look at this. Paul Smith now starting to make the dive. Starting to pull that ever that's needed. And an error again.
Again in the same spot for Perry.
Perry dropping wheels, straightens up. Paul Smith keeps it going, balances that car behind nicely. Now Perry gets back into it, but you know what, Eddie? It's all too much too late.
Yeah, I think that straighten from Perry really, diluting any advantage that he might have pulled at the start of that run, and I think this one could be heading the way of the Jap Speed driver. But in order to decide that, we need to go over to our judges as we await for them to input their decision into their.
Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Give Simon Perry a round of applause. Unfortunate weekend. Blew the engine up in his car, came back, and yep, it's unanimous, Eddie. Paul Smith gets the win and advances through to the top 16. Judges, we go to you.
Yeah, you can analyse both runs in depth. There's a couple of bits of cutting and straightening and everything, but the biggest error of the two runs was Perry on his lead run. Just massive mistake here as he came past in the tower, almost straightened up to a 0. That was the deciding factor for us.
So there you go. Perry bows out in the borrowed car. Unfortunately for him, no top 16, but we will see two Jap Speed drivers, Matt Denham, Paul Smith, taking each other on, and that will be a very interesting battle as they fight for P1 and P2.
Yeah, team orders might come into play.
So next up, we'll see Martin Wonnacott taking on Christian's Burkhoffs. They were going to be battling out for the opportunity to meet Kevin Quinn in the top 16. So very exciting to be able to see where these guys will slide into the top 16 and what sort of battles we will be faced with as well. So, but this one, a very interesting one. A very fast, very big car for Martin Wonnacott. Can he take down the Pro-Am driver who on a dream weekend here just ever so slightly missed out on taking the top step in the Pro-Am competition this morning? Christian's Burkhoffs. He has been fast and looking very confident. And some of the chase driving that he's done in has been very, very aggressive.
Yeah, look at this, Eddie. Fires it in on the door, but Wonnacott way offline, Eddie, on that first turn. Needs to rein this back if he's going to claw some points back. Christian's just keeping away, but look at this. Wonnacott now starting to dial that car and online. Like I said in practice, Wonnacott was absolutely flying. And he seems to come into character now as he sends that big Toyota Chaser to the wall. A little bit of separation, but Christian's Burkhoffs looks like he's giving Wonnacott all the room he needs to manoeuvre as they take it across the line, Eddie.
Yeah, I think a clever drive there from Christian's because Wonnacott didn't have the perfect line. He was quite took a mid-line through the whole circuit, and in order to allow him to transition at those tight technical areas of the track, it made sense for him to give him that space to avoid getting caught up. So could it be that in the lead position, he'll start to pull a gap. Is he the faster car? Certainly didn't look out of place in the chase position. Didn't look like he was giving away any talent, and certainly didn't look out of place against the veteran pro Martin Wonnacott.
Yep, so we're about to find out. Wannacott's chase game earlier and throughout his pro championship has been very, very good. Can he stick it to the door of the Latvian? We're about to find out. Look at that aggression from Wonnacott. Fires that Toyota Chaser in, loses ground on initiation, but now starts to gain it back. Burkhoff's losing wheels off circuit, and Wonnacott now starting to lose ground, but can he make it up again? He does. A big dive as they head to the wall for clipping point 4, Eddie.
Yeah, Wonnacott really bringing the fight now, but can he stay? He needs to maintain this proximity. Oh, and an over-rotation. Over-rotation from Wonnacott. Keeps it in it, but I think the judging decision may just come down to that, Ian.
Yeah, you know what? For me, there's no going to be overturning that. The mistake that Wonnacott made there on clipping point 5.5, the over-rotation, I think he tried to use angle to slow the car down, and it just didn't play off in his favour. So we're going to wait for the judges' scores to come in and make it official. Left for Burkhoff's, right for Wonnacott, who's going through to the top 16 to face Kevin Quinn, Kieran, David and Ryan. Unanimous. Christian's Burkhoff's weekend continues. He heads to the top 16. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Martin Wonnacott and Christian's Burkhoff's.
Yeah, no stopping these Pro-Am guys on their path of destruction, taking down everything in their way. And you know, we spoke about who was going to make a name for themselves, just like Oliver Evans did this time last year. Well, it looks as though a number of these Pro-Am guys are up to the task and willing to put themselves out there and try and take down these pro drivers.
Exactly. You know what? And Christian's Burkhoff's is a guy that I think can do very, very well in this championship. So we move it along to the next battle. Again, getting through these very, very quickly. Mike Marshall and Anthony Mortley. Anthony Mortley now in the chase position against Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall in this brand new car, though, Eddie. So unpredictability here.
You're also talking about a former BDC champion in Mike Marshall, and almost starting to see a return to form from him as he leaves the line.
Yeah, Mike Marshall to lead in Anthony Mortley for a place in top 16. Mortley, whoa, wavers massively, grabs some understeer, and look at this from Mike Marshall, but look at Mortley!
Yeah,
Mortley, oh!
You know, it was never really going to work out for Mortley there. He was way offline as he gained that proximity, went door to door, but he just couldn't maintain the angle, and he exits the circuit, handing a certain 10-0 advantage to Mike Marshall. Could it be car issues? As he just has a quick word with our marshals. We wait to hear.
Yeah, we're just going to wait to get the word from our marshal there. What happened? You know, the proximity, though, from Anthony Mortley. I thought if he can claw this back and stay with Mike Marshall all the way around, you know, and keep that going, just unfortunately there felt it.
Yeah, I mean, he got that proximity, but if you calling a 5-minute rule.
So, yeah, hearing over the radio that he's broke a drive shaft, Eddie. So he's broke a drive shaft. He's going to call a 5-minute rule. His guys are going to get down to the pits. They're going to try and get that car fixed. I mean, not the weekend that Anthony Mortley wants right now. And you can see in his face, he's a little bit disgruntled. So we're going to get Anthony Mortley recovered off circuit, Eddie, and we're going to move it along to the next battle in line, which will be a battle of what I can only explain as David and Goliath, but it's Alistair and Aramis.
Yeah, Vasquez and Sutton, and
probably the most horsepower on the circuit and the least horsepower on the circuit at the same time.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be very interesting because you have Vasquez, who is absolutely wild at the best of times, and you know, capable of some exceptional runs, and he really wowed the crowds here last year. Was very unfortunate with a lot of you know, mechanical issues, and just couldn't keep the car running throughout a full round. And he's back though this year, and he's coming up against Sutton, who's having a weekend of a lifetime here. Yeah, listen, Sutton's having a weekend of a lifetime. I said it earlier, he's a very, very good technical driver. Although he doesn't have that impact that we keep going back to, no big lock kit, no big power, a very basic car in his respect, he still drives absolutely flawlessly, run after run, very, very consistent, on the clipping points, perfect line. So the only problem for me is that I can see for Sutton right now is he's in that chase position against Vasquez. We've seen how much smoke Vasquez's car produces. If Sutton gets lost, it could be weekend over for him. Yeah, the only thing is Vasquez could get lost in it as well. But yeah, and I think, you know, the important thing to note here as well is that style and angle maybe, or style points, maybe not as important as they are in qualifying when you're in the chase position. If you can stay close and just keep that proximity, deviate and go onto a tighter line, and he might just be able to get himself through this. But again, it's going to take everything he has.
Yeah, I mean, Alistair Sutton right now is going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at this one to win it. It will be Aramis Vascalis to lead in Alistair Sutton for a place in the top 16 to face off with Richard Grimrod. They're off the line. And look at this, Alistair Sutton bringing the fight. Not sandbagging. Oh, look at Alistair Sutton throwing his car on the door. He knows where he needs to be, Eddie. He knows he has to be on the door of Vascalis' car not to get lost. Can he transition through the smoke? Very, very shallow angle from Sutton, but he's keeping with the smoke machine of Vascalis.
Yeah, just about managing to keep with him at the moment, but really having to deviate off that line to try and stay with him, and he's just starting to fall apart from now as he struggles on that mid-line, but you can just see the smoke screen from Vascalis making him virtually impossible to try and chase. Very aggressive from the off there.
Yeah, the aggression from Alistair Sutton on that initiation was insane. It just goes to prove you that he's not scared of Vascalis. You know, he's like, I know that you're good. I know you make a lot of smoke. So to win this battle, I'm going to have to be on door with you. So that's how Alistair approached that one, and it paid off. So we're going to switch him around. Alistair Sutton now to lead. Vascalis to give chase. Can Vascalis keep that car tame? Can he drive it quarter throttle? Can he drive it nice and slowly behind Alistair Sutton's car?
Yeah, look, I think he can. He's shown it in the past that he can, but ooh, almost a struggle. A stutter on the start there from both drivers, a little bit unsure, but yeah,
look at
Vascalis. The angle that Vascalis has to pull, and a very late entry there from Alistair Sutton.
And look at this, Vascalis.
Very fierce aggression, dials on the angle just to slow that car down. It's practically straight here from Sutton as he tries to just get this car around, but he has that V8 monster just chomping on the heels.
Whoa! Oh! Whoa!
Would you believe it? Moment of madness.
And you know
Rush
what?
of blood to the head from Vascalis, and has he thrown it all away?
And you know what? It looked like that was going to happen on initiation. Vascalis throwing that big angle in to slow that car down, and he could have just ended his weekend there and there. Judges want to go to a Samco Sport replay for this one. Look at this. Vascalis does it on entry. Look, bam, big angle. Very, very risky on that part of the circuit. Yeah. We know how slippery it is.
Very late initiation there from Sutton as well. Initiated beyond the first clipping zone. See again, just as they come back towards the wall, he just has to back out of it. It's just like he's trying to contain the beast. And here we go. This is where the big error occurs. They're switching it back on transition.
And look at this, it goes for a big dive,
yeah.
Tries to throw on the angle to slow the car down, doesn't pay off. Wow. Sutton's weekend. Sutton must be sitting in that car thinking, what is going on right now? So could we see a big contender for the championship out already in top 24? Can Aramis Vascalis, has he finished his weekend early, or do judges deem Alistair Sutton at fault for being, you know, a very, very shallow angle and slow? Judges want to see us one more time. You guys in attendance can see on the big screen, and you guys watching at home, he's very shallow off that clipping point. Number 2, Alistair Sutton, he's shy off the wall. I mean, he's very straight there on the transition into that Funk Motorsport Ground wall. Look at this.
Yeah, like, and the judges did allude to the fact that a bad lead run, if that's causing the chase driver to make mistakes, that they will reward the lead driver. So just wanted to check this one. It may not be as clear-cut as it looks. Did he slow significantly, causing...
Judges saying Sutton using the handbrake there, coming into clipping point 7. You can just see the rear wheel lock up, look, ever so slightly.
Yeah, and I think what it'll come back to is, you know, where the full throttle and braking zones are on this particular circuit. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in briefing, the drivers were told that there were certain parts of the circuit where they were allowed to de-accelerate, or where it should be full throttle, and the de-acceleration zone is from clipping point 6. Clipping point 5. 5.5 and all the way to the wall on 6. That's a braking zone. That's where you should be de-accelerating. Everywhere else on the circuit, you should be full throttle, or at least not using any form of braking. So, not sure how this one's going to play out. It is very, very a tough job. Something that I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, certainly not as clear-cut as a spin for Vascalis and,
yeah.
and a 10-0 in the favour of Sutton. So, judges still checking out the Samco Sport replay, and it looks as though. Yeah, it looks as though they've made their decision.
Yep, so the judges have dropped their decisions in.
Will it be Vascalis? Will it be Sutton? A spot in the top 16 awaits the winner.
Left for Sutton, right for Vaskelis. Who's it going to be? Kieran says Vaskelis. David says Vaskelis. Aramis Vaskelis goes through to the top 16. Give him a round of applause. Give Alistair Sutton a warm round of applause. What a drive that guy's had all weekend. We go to our judges. Judges, that was not an easy decision.
No. Okay. First run was Vaskelis all the way. Alistar's he just doesn't have the angle to be able to match. But okay, it comes back to the second run and the issue there at the transition. Okay, in the briefing we explain areas where you can slow and areas where you have to be on full throttle, right? It's a slowing area from clip 5 down to the wall at 6. But from 6 then out to the finish line is a full throttle area of the track. Now if you're in a chase position, you're expecting the car in front of you to stay on throttle, power out to clip 6 and out to the wall at 7 and finish the line. What happens here is Alistar in the lead position, he transitions in the middle of the track, first of all, where he should be going all the way over to clip 7, or clip 6, sorry, and not only that, but he actually dabs, he gives a long dab of the handbrake at the point where he transitions, which slows the car at the point where it shouldn't. So he's slowing in a full throttle area of the track. Aramis in the chase position, you can't anticipate that. You're expecting the lead car to power away in front of you and out to the right hand side of the track. It doesn't do that, so he's caught and he has to back out and he spins. So there's a 0 score there. We have to decide who's at fault, and in our opinion, it was the lead car that caused the spin. So that was it.
So there you go, and breaking news from the pits, Eddie. Unfortunately, the team down in the pits for Anthony Mortley couldn't get that car repaired, so they had to forfeit that run, which means Mike Marshall does get the win, and he does advance through to top 16. We keep the action going, though, Eddie, and we see our 2017 Pro Champion
having to work a little bit harder this weekend.
Having to work harder this weekend. Normally find him in that top 10 and safe for top 16, but now he has to battle, and he has to battle a young gun, Peter Hayden. New car, supercharged 4-litre V8 BMW and Nissan Laurel. They get their arms up, it is good to go. It's Matt Carter to lead out Peter Hayden for a place in top 16, and look at the separation.
Yeah, separation right from the off here, but a big dive from Hayden into the first corner. Can he now get on the door of the door hunter?
Yeah, listen to this. But you know what? Peter Hayden not being left for dead, Eddie.
Certainly not. Maybe a little bit straight on transition there from Hayden, but as Carter now starts to build the gap again, Hayden getting close, but then just backing off and not able to get onto the door of Matt Carter as Carter switches it back and brings it towards the finish line. And yeah, just Carter a little bit too quick, you have to feel, for that car probably a little bit more advanced than the Laurel of Peter Hayden.
Yeah, listen, you know, Matt Carter now, I do believe, pushing in the region of nearly 1,000 horsepower under the bonnet of that R32 Skyline, and great sequential gearbox, all the best things that any driver needs in their box of tools to use. Matt Carter has it right there, plus the talent, you know, a pro champion 2 times. So they swap them around now. Hayden to lead in Carter.
Yeah, and Carter going to have to just balance this a little bit, you know, the quicker car, just a little bit of self-control here, because we know how good a driver he is in that chase position, but he does need to just hold back and not be overly aggressive.
Yeah, you know what, they don't call him the door hunter for nothing, and here comes Matt Carter, giving Hayden a little bit of room to breathe there, Eddie, as Hayden runs the perfect qualifying line. Both guys on the wall on transition, and look at this, Carter just keeping his distance, going to start applying the pressure now, though, as Hayden washes shallow through this turn now, so needs to get it back online if Hayden's going to try and put up a fight for Carter, and Carter now starts to get the dive. Yeah, look at this, oh! Carter nearly gets himself in trouble, Eddie.
Yeah, they almost make contact as they switch it back on transition, but a very clever drive from Carter, just keeping his distance and just edging closer throughout the run, bringing that proximity right at the end there, and they almost made contact. We almost lost it as they switched over to that final transition. And as they land in the decision box,
who's he going to be going through to the top 16? Hayden or Carter? Kieran says Carter, so does David. Ryan says Carter as well. Matt Carter gets the win and advances through, ladies and gentlemen, to the top 16. Congratulations, though, for Peter Hayden, that new car. And I'm getting told some information, something about someone wants to do an interview.
Yeah, but we just quickly go back to the judges just to get a call on that one.
Yeah, so I mean, Carter, you know, great lead there. A little bit off one of the clips, but not enough to really deduct him properly there. But Hayden's chase wasn't there. No proximity and off the line. Hayden went in his lead run. It was fairly poor lead off the line, and Carter stuck with him all the way through within the 3 meters that we asked for, and that gives him a 7-3 advantage in both runs.
Thank you very much, Ryan. So despite my calls for getting rid of him and that he's no addition, they've decided that they want to go to Nathan. He has something in the pits for us, so we're about to hear from him. Nathan?
Good. So I'm down here live, and I know the battles are getting underway, but that's not what's caught my interest currently. The rumor on the street is that my old best friend Shane Lynch is in the vicinity. Now, while all the boys and girls around Britain are on an egg hunt today, I'm going on a Shane hunt. I'll be back with you shortly. Shane, where are you? Come here, sausage.
I don't know how that's going to go down, Eddie, because the last time those two were together, Shane wasn't in a good mood at the end of it. So,
and it looks as though Shane has a bit of an entourage and some security with him today. So
100%, yeah, definitely. So we're going to move action along here at round one. We get on with the next battle, which will be Brett Perry to take on Matt Stevenson. These two guys, friends. So know each other's driving style, Eddie.
Friends off the track, but maybe not so on the track. Brett Perry leading them in, the higher qualifier here. Stevenson needs to pick up his game a little bit. Scrape through, well, didn't scrape through. Just managed to get through on his second qualifying run. 0 on the first, but look at this. Straight for the door goes Matthew Stevenson.
Yeah, Matt Stevenson. We're going to... Oh, wow! What a transition from Matt Stevenson. Perry way offline. Matt Stevenson almost going for an overtake. What a chase drive from Matt Stevenson. Now, Matt Stevenson not backing off at all. He's got like a dog with a bone, Eddie. He's getting the kill.
But a big mistake from Stevenson. And a massive straighten. Has he thrown this away? Two big errors from both drivers. Whew.
Wow. Definitely going to have to see a Samco Sport replay of that one, 100%. What went down there?
Yeah, certainly that transition from Stevenson. I mean, with both cars approaching the wall, that's not the position we're accustomed to seeing them in. And Perry just way offline. But it looks as though they are ready to go. We may see a replay when the battle is over. Perry to give chase, Stevenson to lead.
And judges just discussing this one, wondering how it went down and putting notes on paper. This is not going to be an easy decision. You know, two big errors from both these guys. And do you know what? The transition mistake from Brett Perry in front of that Funk Motorsport grandstand, it could have cost him the battle, but you know what? The straighten coming off a clipping point 6 for Stevenson. I'm not sure what went on, how it transpired, or what happened inside the car, more importantly. What did he think he was going to collide with Brett Perry? Judges still talking about this one. Not an easy decision. So we are ready to go. Judges are ready. You guys rocking and ready? Oh, they've gone quiet, Eddie.
They've gone quiet.
They've gone quiet.
And you know what? I don't know why, because we've got some seriously exciting entertainment on the track. Stevenson to lead in Perry. Here we go. This one hangs in the balance. Errors from both drivers on the first run. Nice and wide though from Stevenson on the perfect lead line here, but Perry not giving up without a fight here. Goes for the door. They take it out to the wall. Perry falls back just a little bit now as Stevenson starts to build the gap. Will we see a dive from Perry as they come into the teardrop? Switching it back for the final time. Very shallow from Brett Perry. Stevenson taking it to the wall.
Sketchy, Eddie.
Sketchy runs.
A lot of mistakes from both those drivers there. You know, for me, Brett Perry making more errors in that chase position. He cut the track massively in 2 or 3 places. Not looking good. Judges straight to a decision, no messing about. Left for Stevenson, right for Perry, who's going through to the top 16 to face Martin Richards. Judges keeping us in suspense. Kieran says one more time, David says one more time, Ryan says one more time. They're going to go one more time! Judges, mistakes from both of those guys. Straighten from Stevenson, scrappy second half of the battle. Ryan, talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, Stevenson would have had that if it wasn't for that last massive mistake there. We can't ignore that. That brought a strong advantage back to a small advantage for Perry. Now, when they switch around, Stevenson's lead was okay. It wasn't perfect, but nor was Perry's chase, which gave Matt again a small advantage. We need to see that again. Have a clear winner.
So there you go, Eddie. Judges looking for a clear winner. Too many mistakes in both halves of that battle.
No, and not the best driving that we would have seen from either of those two guys. And they'll both know as they just talk to their pit crews and their spotters on the radio that they can improve on what we first saw. And it looks as though they are going to go straight back into this one. Is it, Mike? Yes. Yep. They're just going to line back up. No need to change tyres. No need to refuel. They were giving each other the nod, just on the line there to say, yeah, do you know what? Let's go straight back into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. And they are ready to go. Brett Perry to lead in, Matt Stevenson for the one more time. Just one more time battle. Our start line, Marshall Melks, lining those guys up. Just waiting to get the thumbs up from both those guys, and they are off the line. We are go for a one more time. Brett Perry to lead in, Matt Stevenson for a place in the top 16, and Stevenson again, Eddie, making that big dive, trying to get on the door.
Yeah, but
Brett
look
Perry's
how wide
skyline.
both drivers are. Both drivers hugging that outer line.
Oh, wow!
Contact! They keep it going. Oh!
Wow!
Stevenson with an overly aggressive transition. Lands on the door of Perry. Perry tries to stay in it, but has to straighten. They switch it back now through the final section of the track, throw it out to the wall. Grandstand, make some noise. Rockingham, show your appreciation. Brett Perry, Matt Stevenson, that is what we want to see here in the BDC.
Look at this replay. You guys in attendance, take a look at the big screen. You guys watching at home, watch the aggression from Matt Stevenson as he fires it in. Brett Perry, very, very good line. Like you said, Eddie, nice and wide. Look at Stevenson hunting the door down, not scared at all. And then on this transition, carries big speed, almost collides with the back end. See Brett Perry slow the car down with the handbrake. Stevenson keeps well in it. But I'm not sure if the contact from Stevenson was enough to upset the balance of Brett Perry's car. Or did Brett Perry straighten? Yeah, I mean, this is what the judges are now going back over. Judges trying to find out, did the contact from Stevenson upset Brett Perry's line enough to warrant knocking him down? And look at this here, a little tag, but they both keep in it. Close call.
Yeah, and you know, I think it goes back to what we saw in an earlier battle where is it, you know, unnecessary braking in a throttle zone.
Exactly, and this is it. This is what it will go back to the Alistair Sutton battle for Skellis. Is Perry braking where he should be using the throttle, and where Matt Stevenson would anticipate that Brett Perry would be accelerating. You'd expect Brett Perry to be accelerating towards the wall, and he didn't. So, a very, very difficult decision the judges have got to make on this one.
Certainly loving the aggression that Matt Stevenson showing there. That is the type of driving we want to see from him, and we welcome that anytime he comes out on track. So keep that up, Matt.
Yeah, listen, Matt's told us before that he's coming to take names, not make names, you know, and
yeah, and he certainly gets well into the door of Perry there. So yeah, that's what we mean when we say door to door.
Door to door, yeah.
There'll be a few scrapes left on that one, and it just goes to show judges really needing to see they take it so seriously. They don't want to get it wrong. You can see Simon Perry throw his hands up in the air up on top of his truck.
Door to door, he's doing the international symbol for tagging.
Tagging.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, a serious amount of aggression from Matt Stevenson. You just see that little dab of the handbrake there from Perry, and so judges look like they've made a decision on the first half of that run. Eddie, obviously, we've still got one half of this run to go. They are on the line. It's Matt Stevenson now to lead out Brett Perry for the second half of this one more time. Who is going to be the victor? Who is going to go through to the top 16 to face off with Martin Richards? We are about to find out. We are just waiting to get the thumbs up from our judges to say they are ready to see this battle.
Yeah, and the judges, the only ones that know where the advantage lies on this one. It will be a 10-0 advantage to one of these drivers going into the second half of the battle. We don't know, the drivers don't know, so they have to gun it as if they have the disadvantage. Stevenson to lead in Perry. The final half of the one more time battle. Malks gets the orders, the drivers gets the thumbs up. We are go.
Stevenson to lead out Perry for a one more time, second half. And look at this, a nice opposite flick from Stevenson. And here comes Perry. Perry now bringing the fight to Matt Stevenson all over the side of that E92 BMW. Can Perry keep up with it? He can't. He makes a massive error in the middle of that circuit. Yeah. Stevenson on a real good line, Eddie.
Yeah, a really good line from Stevenson, and Perry having to take a mid-line to try and keep with him here. Can he get some proximity now towards the end, just to try and bring himself back into this one? Oh, but a big straight, very shallow from Perry as Stevenson takes it to the wall. They cross the line. Oh, it's all going to come down to that first run.
You know what's so close?
The second run is essentially irrelevant here. Both guys get out of the cars, guys. Make some noise and show your appreciation. 2 friends off the track. Not easy coming up against a buddy. But yeah, they haven't got a clue. Little jab to the ribs there from Stevenson. Just
left for Stevenson, right for Perry. Who's going to take it, Eddie? Kieran says Matt, so does David, so does Ryan. Unanimous, Matt Stevenson gets the win and advances through. Give him a round of applause. Brett Perry driving absolutely unbelievable, but Slide Motors will take it through and face Martin Richards in the top 16. Eddie, it's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot in here, yeah. We're not allowed to mention the temperatures.
It's warm, that's what I'm saying. It's getting hot in here. We're going to go to the judges, though, for that one.
Yeah, so it all came down to that first run with Matt chasing. Matt was super aggressive. It was really good. We had to watch that replay back enough times to see what happened. And what we saw was Perry dabbing the handbrake and then coming off and then back on again for a fair amount of time. Slowed his car a lot. Matt coming in on big angle, still started trying to slow it down, but not enough. It's essentially a full throttle area. It shouldn't be slowing down that much, and that's what caused it. It wasn't enough to 10-0, but enough to give a 9-1 advantage in that first run.
So there you have it, interestingly, a 9-1 advantage on that first run.
So David Egan has a point to put across there. We're just going to go back to the judges. David Egan?
Yeah, just to add to that, of course, obviously, when you see, if you're a layman watching it, you know, like the Vasquez run, you see someone spin or something happen, it looks like, oh, he spun, that's the end of it. You can't have a good chase run without a good lead run. And it's also about anticipation for the chase car. He's expecting the lead car to be on the qualifying line. I agree with Ryan there. I think if you look at that back, Perry handbrakes in a full throttle zone. He's actually backing out. I think he thinks he's going to go into the wall, so he lets off the throttle. Stevenson can't anticipate a slowing there because he wants to be slow, and he's actually on more angle in the chase position, trying to avoid it. So even though it looked obvious at the time when we got the replay done, it was a clear decision for us once we watched that replay.
So there you go. A tough decision, but the judges calling it the right way. We go back to the start line. It is Scott Cartledge to take on Paul Conlon for the last place in top 16. This guy will face off Lee Scott in top 16. Paul Conlon, like you said earlier, Eddie, coming over to try and take this championship down. But standing in his way now is our 2017 Pro-Am champion, Scott Cartledge. Has Conlon got it in it to beat the new young gun on the block?
Well, look, Conlon's been involved at the highest level for so many years, almost since the very beginning, and he's coming up against one of the young guns. Can he take it through to the top 16? He wants to get his season off to a good start, and it looks as though he's leaving Cartledge for dead just a little bit here. Will Cartledge bring it back in? Not the best of lines from either driver, but
oh, wow, and Scott Cartledge almost making contact with Paul Conlon. Paul Conlon shortcuts the circuit there. Judge is going to really be looking at that one. But Cartledge, like you say, Eddie, not the cleanest of runs there.
No, not the cleanest of runs, but not the easiest of lead runs to chase either.
Exactly.
It certainly wasn't
the cleanest of battles, no.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Conlon doing a lot right, but could have been on a better line there through some of the sections of the circuit. Scott, though, yeah, you know, making a lot of dives and sacrificing lines significantly to try and get that proximity as well, and making a big error there and coming into a slowing section of the track behind Paul.
So we've swapped him around. Scott Cartledge now to lead out Paul Conlon. Now our track marshal just having a word with Paul Conlon there. Maybe an issue with that car, no, or is he just, no, he's got the thumbs up. So these guys are ready to go. It will be Scott Cartledge to lead out Paul Conlon for the final place in top 16. Can the young gun Scott Cartledge, our 2017 Pro-Am champion, take down a veteran in Irish drifting?
Well, it was his opportunity if he's going to do it, and in that lead position, he needs to put in, you know, he needs to be his target here is to, you know, an 80+ qualifying run score, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And just hope that he can do enough to be faster and technically better than Conlon. Conlon's job here is just to stick it to that door and try and make as few mistakes as possible.
Here we go, Cartledge to leading Conlon. Who's going to take it? Oh, and Conlon with a big dive, but car not looking too healthy there, Eddie, as Scott Cartledge now steps in it, starts to pedal it, and big separation already. Conlon not really got an answer for Cartledge. Cartledge on a very wide line, starts to pull distance again as they come round the final teardrop.
Yeah, Conlon just doesn't seem to have an answer at the moment for Scott Cartledge as he makes a final last-ditch effort to get on the door. And as they cross the line, he just about manages to just keep his hopes alive. But certainly 2 runs that weren't exactly perfect from either driver, and be interesting to see what the judges' take on this one will be.
So so we wait for the judges to get their decisions in. Cartledge looks like he was on a good line. Conlon making, you know, rash decisions to make a dive to try and get on the door. Judge is going to very, very, you know, hardly penalise him for that. So thumbs up from Conlon. He's happy inside that car. Who's it going to be?
So it looks as though the judges have finished their deliberations. They're ready to make their call. Conlon or Cartledge for the final place in the top 16 and a battle against Lee Scott. One more time, one more time, one more time. We're going to turn them around. We're going to bring them back to the start line. They're going to run it again. We go back to the judges. Nothing you guys can see to separate the two on those runs.
Yeah, well, hopefully, when we judge, we want to see who's the best driver. In that particular instance, there was far too many mistakes from both. Entry, even Conlon, like, he came in very fast and he slowed up. Cartledge had a huge error as he came to the second last wall run. He just almost shut down, but didn't quite straighten enough for a 10-0. Conlon's lead run was poor. Cartledge's lead run wasn't that great either. No proximity from Conlon in his chase run. So I think, to be honest, it was so many errors across both. Calling a clear winner wasn't the right decision. We want to see these guys put a little bit more out there and we're trying to decide the better driver, not who's less worse. So I think that was an uncharacteristic errors from both there, and we want to see them go one more time.
So there you go, going to go one more time. These guys are going to go change tyres. I wonder if your mate Nathan's got anything for us, Eddie.
Well, I wonder if he's had any opportunity to try and catch up with his old friend
Shane Hunt. He was on the Shane Hunt looking for Shane. I don't know if he's found him at all. Or.
But yeah, no, while we have a chance in just looking forward at some of our top 16 battles, one of them is left to be decided. The first of those will see Dwayne McKeever taking on Sultan Al-Qasimi. Then it'll be an all-team Jap Speed affair with Matt Denham taking on Paul Smith. Kevin Quinn will be coming up against Christian Burkhoffs. Oliver Evans, the new boy to BDC, will be looking to take on veteran Mike Marshall. It'll be Greenrod versus Vasquez, Clark versus Carter, Richards versus Stevenson, and Scott versus Conlon or Cartledge. That one yet to be decided. Yeah, some very interesting battles there to look forward to.
Yeah, very, very exciting. A top 16 coming up later on this afternoon. But obviously, Eddie, got to say a massive thank you to all our sponsors, because without those guys, none of this would be possible, and you wouldn't be able to see me and Eddie on your live feed at home. So massive thank you to AMD Details, Brian James Trailers, Cosmos Racing, Funk Motorsport, Jap Speed, JDM Distro, Link ECU, and Monster Energy, M-Tech Brakes, Samco Sport, Simpson Race Products, VP Racing Fuels, and Zestino Tyres. Those guys supplying some seriously good products, Eddie.
They certainly do, and be sure to check out their websites for any parts for your cars, any tires that you may need, or anything at all. These guys, they have you covered. Right? Be it race helmets, hoses for your cars, brakes. We're hearing that we have a report down in the pits, so
we're going to go to the pits.
So we're down in the pits with Matt Stevenson, just been out to battle with his friend Brett Perry. How was the battle?
Awesome battle. Brett's always good to go against. He's going to be, although he did do a little bit of a brake check there, I think. No, he didn't really. He's good to battle against, he's fair. I go up against him all day long, like just smash against his door, big time. Loved it.
So, how's the car feel? Now, I know you've just had this remapped. You boys have all been trying to see who's got the best horsepower out of the three cars. How's it feeling, and whose is the better of the three?
I mean, I'm biased, but obviously the E92 is the best car, quickest car, fastest car. It's feeling quick. I think I've got Martin in next battle. Bring it on. Paced him early and happy to go against him.
Modest as ever there, the boss of Slide Motorsport, just proving that his car's the better of the three. So, this season, you said that you're going to put it all on the line. You're out there to prove a point. Second year in pro, what can you expect from this year?
I'll just be pushing hard. I don't mind putting, most people know I don't mind putting it against a wall or a door or whatever. I'm confident now going up against pretty much anyone on grid, so bring it on basically.
Big words there from Matt Stevenson. At the back of the pits here, we should have a Jason Clark. He's the fabricator for Slide Motorsport, my former teammate.
Outqualified me.
Outqualified the boss, less power, in a very, very nice looking RX-7. Congratulations, buddy.
Cheers, man. Quite happy with that.
I'm not surprised. So 6th place.
Yeah.
And then you got the so you got a bye. You don't have to do any qualifying now. Who have you got in your first battles?
I've got Matt Carter, which I'm really excited about, to be honest. I've always wanted to drive with Matt. He's here sneaking around, look. Well, I'm going to run to you now.
Oh, shots fired, look. And here we've got Matt Carter walking into frame. So, first, I think it's first battle for you too, this, isn't it?
First battle, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah.
So you've got a BDC former pro champion, you've got a pro-am stepping up to pro rookie. Yeah. This is all on the line here.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
It really is,
You're going to make some fun memories out of this.
I think we should.
Yeah.
We'll have a little kiss at the end, whatever happens.
Trade paint, a bit of grey, bit of red, bit of red, bit of grey.
Go well together.
So this season, every year that you redevelop your car, you change it, you bring it out, it just looks better and better every time. You went from the bigger kit, the spoilers, the colours, and again, it looks an absolute beast.
Cheers. Well, I try and up the game each year, but you know, only so much can be done. But the new Pandem kit from EP Racing looks fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it is a very, very pretty car. So a new teammate as well for this season. Yes. Shane's obviously away on other business. So Matt Denham, the nicest guy in UK drifting, stepping into the seat.
So confusing around the pits now with about 3 Macs, I think. So.
But again, beautifully well laid out team. You've got everything on board. Hopefully, Matt can get these the demons of his unreliability issues sorted.
Well, we're seeing now with both of them up against each other. So
really,
indeed.
So it's a double battle. Indeed. Teammate on teammate. So Paul Smokey Smith against Matt Denham. Where would you place your bets?
Oh, I couldn't say.
Matt Carter there, just playing it as cool as ever. You're more than welcome. So should we have a little wander around, see what else we can see? We can take a walk this way potentially. Or are we back to the pits? No, we're back to the Tower of Power.
Thank you, Ben. You are, of course, in the pit, so it's back to the tower to myself and Ian, and thank you for that report. It looks as though Conlon and Cartledge are back on the line in, ready for their one more time battle.
Yep, they're back and ready for their one more time battle. We've got them on the line. And it does look like these guys are ready to rock and roll. It will be Paul Conlon to lead out Scott Cartledge for the one more time battle. This is the last spot in top 16 up for grabs.
And just going back into what Dave Egan said in the judging tower is that they want to see these guys go out and win it. They don't want to see them making mistakes. That's all they seem to see from them in the first run. This is both drivers' opportunity to go out there and grab the bull by the horns. Conlon to lead in Cartledge.
Yeah, Cartledge with an aggressive entry. Conlon on a good line, but look at Cartledge starting to bring the fight to the veteran Irishman right now as Cartledge transitions through the smoke. Starting to get lost a little bit, and he needs to make a dive to claw this back.
Yeah, really had to sacrifice line to try and gain proximity. Now he's, just washes wide, and you just see having to brake there just to avoid making contact with Conlon and losing it ground again. Much better from Conlon this time around, as he seems to make very few errors there in the lead position.
Yeah, you know what? The only error he kind of made, Eddie, was when he come off a clipping point 5.5 early. He shortcut the circuit, missed clipping point 6. For me, Cartledge did a very, very good job avoiding that. Stayed with him, backed out of it ever so slightly, and then dived back on the door as they got through clipping point 8. Not sure how the judges are going to score that one. We spin him around. It is now Cartledge to lead out Conlon. Conlon really going to have to work hard. He's going to have to stick it on the door, try not to make any errors, but can Cartledge put down the lead run of his life right now? He needs to drive that car like this is qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, look, Conlon's done his job in the lead position. He's put in a relatively solid lead run. Now it's Cartledge's turn to do just that and see if he can keep a gap from Conlon. But Conlon seems to have the pace of the bigger R33. Just waiting for orders from our tower to say that the track is clear, that the smoke has moved on, and that it is safe for the drivers to leave the start line, and that is what they do. Cartledge, Conlon, the last time they'll come up against each other this weekend. Who is going to take it into the top 16? Cartledge now starts to pull the gap. Neither of these drivers seems to be able to stay with the other. Can Conlon now make the dive to get on the door?
Yeah, Cartledge shortcutting the circuit there.
Big shortcut from Cartledge.
Oh! Wow, and a missed from Cartledge gives Conlon the opportunity to get nice and close on the door. Cartledge could have just thrown that battle away. Wow, Eddie, fireworks on that one more time battle.
Yeah, look, I think both these guys will be kind of saying, this isn't how it's supposed to be.
And
steering problems there.
Steering problems for Scott Cartledge there. We could just get that in shot. Look at that front wheel. As he tries to reverse the car back, it looks like Scott Cartledge may have broke a lower arm or a steering arm potentially. So he's broken a steering arm. Wow, how lucky was that?
And you know what? It'd be interesting to see where on the circuit that happened, because it's quite possible that he completed a reasonable amount of that circuit with that broken. So you can see our marshals just telling our cameraman where all looks fine.
Oh, it's the lower arm. Look, you can see the rose joint has actually snapped.
All looks fine to me.
It looks fine to you, Eddie, but trust me, I wouldn't want to be driving that car. Left for Cartledge, right for Conlon. Who's going to get the win and go through to the top 16? Kieran says Conlon, so does David, so does Ryan. It's unanimous. Paul Conlon gets the win and goes through to top 16. Unfortunately, Scott Cartledge is out. Give him a round of applause. Put his car on the line for your entertainment. We go back to our judges.
Yeah, it's a tale of 2 runs and 2 very big mistakes. So Conlon, after clip 6 in the first run, makes a huge cut at the track, or just before clip 6, and then he almost spins, has way too much angle, nearly spun, but he kept it going, and we said, that's a big error, surely Cartledge won't make a bigger one. But obviously, mechanical issues for Cartledge. He has a massive shutdown as he comes to clip 6. It's just too big an error, almost borderline driving and straightening and almost a 0. So, but the narrowest of margins, Paul Conlon goes through.
So there you go, Eddie. Fulfilling our top 16 is Paul Conlon, so that breaks it down for us. And we're going to let you in to who is battling who. So first up, battle out the gate is Dwayne McKeever to take on Sultan Al-Qasimi. Next up,
Al-Qasimi really going to be up against it in that one.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne McKeever's qualifying run was enough to you know, just blow everyone's minds. It blew my mind watching it go around. So next up we have Matt Denham to take on Paul Smith, Kevin Quinn to take on Christian Burkhoffs, Mike Marshall to take on Oliver Evans, Aramis Vascalis to take on Richard Grinrod, Jason Clark to take on Matt Carter, Martin Richards to take on Matt Stevenson, and Lee Scott to take on Paul Conlon. Wow, I mean, what a top 16.
Yeah, some really exciting battles to look forward to. And we are just going to take a small break before we kick that off. And we will be back to you with action very shortly.
Actually, action right now, Eddie, on the circuit. So we have got some special guests in the house, Eddie, this weekend. We've got the Forces Drift Series here. Those guys are going to come out on circuit and they're going to put a drift demo on. And for you guys that don't know what the Forces Drift Series is, and especially I'm not that clued up on it, we've got a special guest in the house. She's going to jump in a seat and we're going to have a good conversation about what it all is. So, welcome to the British Drift Championship.
Hey.
Who are you? And
I'm Emma Howe.
And what do you represent? So you're here from the Forces Drift Series.
Forces Drift Series, yeah. My husband should be here, but Forces, he's been taken away, so I'm standing in his place, so yeah.
So when we talk about Forces, what exactly are we talking about for everybody at home that doesn't really understand what it is all about?
So the Forces Drift Series was set up a couple of years ago, and thanks in part to Gordon at RDC, we've been running in partnership with them whilst we're building up our series and getting all the drivers on board, but mainly it's for people that are in the forces to be like-minded people and be with them and for these guys.
Okay. So, what else can you tell about this series? These guys all determined. These guys protect and look after our country, nonetheless. But you've telling me earlier that this is not just from the UK. That you've now expanded the people that you're allowing to drive in this new championship that you've developed.
Yeah. So at the moment, Arik is out. He's 44 years old. He's a dependent from someone from the Polish army, and this is partly the Forces Drift Series. You know, it's for servicing people who are currently serving, veterans, dependents of people in the armed forces. So that could be a husband, a wife, a son, daughter, anyone with an immediate family member. Speak to us and come on board.
So when you run this championship runs alongside the Retro Drift Championship, RDC, which is run by Gordon McIsaac down there in Wales. you guys run your championship within their championship, technically.
Yeah, at the moment, whilst we're building up here, you know, we're working with him and building with him. So yeah.
So you want to get? So say I'm in the services. I want to get involved. What do I have to do?
Get on Facebook. We're there. Forces Drift Series, FDS. We're on Instagram. And yeah, get online, speak to the guys. We'll be around later on as well, giving out some leaflets and stuff. So yeah, speak to us. If you want to get on board, come and speak to us and we can give you some more information.
So what does the future hold for the Forces Drift Series? Where are you trying to go with this? Do you want it to be an independent drift series that caters for everybody within the Forces, that they can come together, drive, compete, enjoy it together?
Yeah, that's it basically. Being Forces, we understand that you can be taken away and not be around. So the uniqueness of what we want to do is be able to have a series whereby 5 rounds, but we'll only have 3 as point scoring rounds. So if you're doing all 5, then that's great. You can pick your highest scores, but if you can't make one because you suddenly have to go away, then it's top 3 highest. So hopefully that means that it makes it more accessible because we know what it's like for people in the Forces.
Exactly. So, and you've got a championship running at the moment, or is it not yet started?
Not yet started, May time, so it's still time to come on board for this year.
So, I mean, if you're in the crowd right now at Rockingham or you're watching online, you want to get involved, get in contact with the Forces Drift Series. And you know what, it looks like a very exciting situation to be involved in. And you guys, I know, are pushing very, very hard to grow this into a big sport. And we're going to talk about the guys out on track now. So who have we got?
This is Matt Roberts, or Pex as he likes to be known. He's 40 years old and he's currently serving in the parachute regiment and he's been with them for 23 years. He's been drifting for 4 years. And yeah, he's got his BMW E36 M3 and I think it runs nitros as well, so
he's got all the tricks going on at the moment, and you know what? The guys out there are doing a very, very good job. There's some qualifying runs right now on our pro-ams. You know, they could tell. And up next on the line.
So up next is Mark Brown, otherwise known as Gadget. He's 39 years old and he's a veteran. So he used to serve in the army for 6 years as an AMEC, and this is his first time. This is a borrowed car.
Yeah,
so
I recognise this car. I know the owner of this car, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty brave of Tom Taverner to hand over the keys to his car and let Mark send this around. And he's not doing a bad job so far.
No. He's drifted on and off since forever, but yeah, he's out there.
Yeah, not doing too bad of a job, to be honest with you.
Massive thanks for lending of the car.
So Mark Brown there, just finishing it off. So anything else you want to talk to us about this Forces Drift Series? I mean, you've got some good drivers. I mean, you've got the talent out there. I think this is phenomenal. You know, these guys are these are not like seasoned pro drivers. These are literally guys that dedicate all their time to defending their countries, our country, and this is just a spare time, a bit of a hobby. And you know what? They're very, very good level of driving. So, where do you hope to see this in 5-6 years' time?
Well, hopefully, you know, being a series of its own and being able to feed into things like Drift Cup and then obviously, you know, maybe out here one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unreachable, and it's how we like to do things. We like to feed a series, it's perfect way through. So, I mean, you've pretty much covered all the bases there. You've got through all the information. I'm not sure if your guys have got more runs to do.
So the only other thing, we also sort of extended this out to the fire service, police service and ambulance services as well. So it's not just the forces that can take part. Oh,
right, okay, so you're reaching this out now to police officers, if you're an ambulance driver, a medic, anyone like that, they can come along now and compete in it. So you've really broadened the range of people that are allowed to drive in this Forces Drift Series, which is amazing. I mean, listen, if I was I'd be eager to get involved with this, you know, because it looks like an amazing service, an amazing championship to be involved in with some very good people and some very kind-hearted people. So, I mean, fair play to you guys. It's not easy starting a drift championship. As you know, you've been putting in a lot of hard work, and I see you growing it on Facebook and Instagram and everything else. And I think your guys are going to do a few more laps, and we're going to get away with the action. So there we go, Mark Brown absolutely giving that car death. So it was Emma. So Eric there just throwing it down, getting some seat time, taking a bit of cheeky seat time here, Eddie. You know, these guys, they're not messing about, are they? They're really laying it down that you can't speak, but you're standing there watching saying, I want to be able to do this. Very, very good. Did you guys reach out to Ireland, of course? I mean, do you cover all of Ireland?
Yeah, cover everywhere. You know, Eric's got from Polish army, so international anywhere, you know.
Wow, so I mean, this
Come
is...
and join on board.
You're bringing a European international service into play here, so yeah, we look forward to that. I mean, this is good, and I can see the progression. That looks like you guys are done and dusted on track. I want to say a huge thank you to Emma, and a huge thank you to the Forces Drift Series for putting on that little demonstration for us. Good luck in the future, and we look to see more of you and your Drift Series grow as you move on in the future.
Thanks so much for having us.
Not a problem.
Come and see us, guys.
Right, so we're getting ready for top 16 now. We're going to get our guys lined up. We'll be back in 5 minutes' time with our top 16 parade live out on track.
So once again, thank you to Emma and the Forces Drift Series for coming here and showcasing some of their talents. And again, you guys can check them out online if you want more information on Facebook and Instagram and all their other media, social media platforms. So we are almost set for the top 16, the main stage. And we have some mouth-watering battles to come. We are going to be kicking things off with Dwayne McKeever, two-time IDC champion with a 100% win record that he is looking to maintain here in the BDC. He's taking on Sultan Al-Qasimi, who is in a new car this weekend and looking like he is really starting to get comfortable here on this BDC circuit. Matt Denham will be taking on Paul Smith in an all-Jap Speed team battle. And those guys going up against each other for a spot in the Grade 8 and, of course, for bragging rights. Kevin Quinn will be taking on Christians Burkovs in our third heat. That one promises to be a very, very interesting battle. Burkovs coming all the way through from the Pro-Am competition yesterday, and he's taking on one of the rising stars in the Irish Drift Championship and, of course, over here in the British Drift Championship, Kevin Quinn, the boss at Quinn M Sport. Oliver Evans will be taking on former BDC champion Mike Marshall. Evans, of course, looking to take his first championship victory home this weekend, and a win from him here would certainly get his season off to the right start. Grindrod will be taking on Vasquez. That was bound to be a very, very interesting affair with Vasquez, of course, one of the most difficult drivers to chase. Jason Clark will be taking on your 2017 BDC champion Matt Carter. Martin Richards will be taking on Matthew Stevenson in what promises to be another very, very interesting battle. And your final top 16 battle will be two guys who know each other very well, Lee Scott and Paul Conlon, both drivers making the trip over from Northern Ireland here this weekend, although we have heard that Scott may have to leave for a boat. So the only thing that remains is, are you guys ready for your top 16? Oh, that was pathetic. Grandstand. Everybody on your feet. Everybody up on your feet, because we ain't going nowhere with the top 16 until you guys start to make some noise. Come on. You didn't make it all the way here to Rockingham this weekend just to sit with your hands in your pockets. Grandstand, are you ready for your top 16? That's more like it. It's only a few more hours of this to go and we will be home for the weekend, and you'll be left with 2 months to wait for your next round. We want to hear you guys make as much noise as possible. Get these guys worked up. They can hear you inside their cars, and they feed off all the noise and adrenaline that you guys can produce to them down on the track. Here they come, out onto to track your top 16, led in by Dwayne McKeever.
So late. These are your top 16. The first guy up, no one to be laughed at. This guy, two-time IDC champion, back-to-back winner. The man from Northern Ireland, the Northern Smoke Machine. Give it up for Dwayne McKeever. This guy probably had the longest travel than anyone else on the grid right now, all the way from the UAE, representing Group D, Monster Energy and Low Brain Drifters. It's Sultan Al Qasimi, the gentleman of UK drifting, the most polite man that you'll ever find on the grid, driving the most insane LS turbo-powered RX-8. Give it up for Jap Speed Maxxis Tyres, Matthew Denham. Another guy that wouldn't look far out of place in a Handsome Man magazine. Give it up for Jap Speed Maxxis Tyres, Paul Smokey Smith. A guy that brings super aggression and a handsome smile. Give it up for Kevin Quinn. All the way from Riga in Latvia, this guy has proved his worth through Pro-Am. Narrowly missing out on the top step on the podium. Kristas Berkoffs. The VP Racing Fuel sponsored, amazing talented BMX rider. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Oliver Evans. Ex-pro driver and someone who's come back with a fight and the hunger in their stomach for that win. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, from M&M Engineering's Mike Marshall. A supercharged LSX under the bonnet of this immaculate-looking Driftworks sponsored E36. Ladies and gentlemen, raise the roof for Richard Grinrod. This man brings clouds to a dry, sunny day. Ladies and gentlemen, the smoke machine, Aramis Fiscalis, ladies and gentlemen. The diversity right now, the man who took out the rotary and turn this import into something you'd find in the States. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jason Clark. My hero and the man that you guys all come to see every weekend. Your 2017 BDC champion, Jap Speed Maxxis sponsored Matt Carter. The cool, calm and collected man who drives with the most badass set of wheels in his car. European champion, Martin Richards, ladies and gentlemen. The boss from Slide Motorsport and the man that's got the chase game all over him today. Look at that smile. Give it up for Matt Stevenson. A man that's turned up this weekend to tear the BDC Pro-Am grid apart. Give it up for Lee Scott, ladies and gentlemen. And last but by no means least, Irish hero. Raise the roof, Rockingham for Paul Conlon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been a long day, it's been a long weekend. I'm cold, I'm tired, and my voice is starting to fail. But Rockingham, I want to hear you raise the roof for your top 16 drivers. Are you ready? Rockingham, I said, are you ready for your top 16 drivers? Gentlemen, start your engines! Rockingham, raise the roof one more time for your top 16. Eddie, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ian, and I am, of course, joined by David Egan. Dave, you've watched from the judging tower all weekend. What what have you taken from this this first round of British Drift Championships this season or this year? You've wanted to raise the roof. You've wanted to step into new waters with the BDC, and it's been a strong start.
Especially from where we've been sitting, and normally I'm commentating, so I don't get to see the technical ability these guys have, and that's exactly what I've been impressed by. Look at judging criteria on a very difficult track with so much different machinery, so much variety, so many different types of setups, but yet they can still hit that outer line. I think we're still hitting our stride. I think we're starting to see some of the better runs come in. It was a competitive top 24. This is the main show, though. This is where everybody wants to be, top 16. This is where we get a little harsher. This is where it gets a little bit more intense. I think we're in for an incredible finale here at the round one. We want you guys in Rockingham to make some noise for these drivers who put their heart and soul into these machines. All they do it for is your response and your cheer. So today, like last year, the more noise you give, the crazier they get. They get amped up on that start line. We want to see everybody amped up. We're having a blast in Rockingham this weekend. The track is set. The rain, touch wood, has just held off. We're in for a smoky finale. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, some big names already in the top 16, Dave. Dwayne McKeever, Oliver Evans, Matt Carter. Who has stood out for you, though? Who do you think is looking like the guy to beat? And who do you think maybe could be that dark horse that could cause a little bit of an upset this weekend?
Do you know what? Usually I have my picks. Today, with the way everyone's driving, it's a mixed bag. They're doing some incredible runs and then making some errors. So I think we're in for an unpredictable start here. The one thing that I've noted is it's so even across the board. I think if you're looking at a favorite, you've got to go for your top qualifier, Dwayne McKeever, looking very strong out there, but then had gearbox issues in practice too. So will the car hold together for the whole competition? You can't count out Oliver Evans here. He's a chase expert on this track. Matt Carter, last year's champion, coming in, but the likes of Grinrod and Clark and stuff looking very strong in practice and in qualifying. I think we're in for a really, really entertaining top 16. I'm looking forward to it. I know we're going to have stress over there, me and Kieran and Ryan, because there's going to be some very, very tough calls. But we're looking forward to it. And for you and Eddie and everyone that's up here, I think we're in for a real treat. I think the guys in the grandstand, everybody who's come and supported this event, we want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. It's a cold weekend, we know that, but hey, that's what it's all about, drifting. It's not just about sitting at home and watching, it's about getting involved, and every single person that comes to these events allows us to improve our show, improve the budget for everything, go to new places, do new things. So we want to thank everybody who's actually come out here today to Rockingham. It's not the prettiest of weekends, but I'm guaranteeing you will get your money's worth in the next 2.5 hours, because these guys are going to put on one hell of a show.
Yeah, and when you try to make leaps forward in the series, it's only helped by people coming out and supporting the series and donating at the gate, essentially.
Yeah, and look, I mean, everything we get from this, we put back into this. So it's a UK Drift series, and everything the UK creates for it goes straight back in here again. That's why you start to see these new graphics on the screen. You start to see the bigger layouts. You start to see some more ambitious events. That's what we want.
And of course, some prize money at the end of it for some of these drivers.
And of course, you're very expensive, Eddie. So to keep you in the tower, it's probably bleeding the whole championship drive.
Probably.
I'm going to hand back over to Ian. I'm going to go back to the judging seat, which is, as I said, a tough place to be today, I think, for the next couple of hours. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be hyped. We hope everyone here gets hyped. And you know what? From my perspective, we might even have Nathan in the pit. And I think, he's been annoying everyone all weekend. But we're just letting him loose. We're letting him loose. A little bit of entertainment. I like dropping someone in there that's a little inexperienced and doesn't know what's going on. But Ben and Nathan, then I'm sure will know everything that's going on behind the scenes. You and Ian will tell everything that's happening here, and we're going to try and do our best to explain all of the calls that are on track. Looking forward to it, Eddie. I'm hyped. I'm really hyped.
Dave, thank you very much. We'll let you back over to your judging seat, and we will look forward to the start of our top 16. I'm welcoming back my partner in crime, Ian.
Sorry, Eddie, just
a real buzz down on during the top 16 parade, and you can start to feel the atmosphere kick off a little bit here. The crowd are excited for this one.
Yeah, you know what? The atmosphere in here is absolutely electric, and I can't thank everybody enough, like Dave Egan said, for coming out, braving the weather. But I do believe, Eddie, that there's one man out there braving the weather who is used to be in a warm studio, and that's Nathan. Nathan, are you about?
Yeah, sorry, we're currently on the Shane lunch. Shane, I don't know where you are, but I'm going to find you. My informants have told me that he's somewhere around the vicinity. He's where? Have you seen Shane? He's about 6 foot tall. He's very good looking. He's not as good looking as I am. He's got short hair. He's probably got a beer in his hand. Anywhere? Have you seen Shane Lynch? This way around the bottom. We're on a hunt today. I'm going to find him. Shane, I don't know where you are, you little rascal, but I'm going to find you. Me and you can have a little sing together. We'll be back with you shortly. Shane!
I don't know where that's going to end up, mate. I really, really don't. That's just...
Yeah, but you know what? At least it's keeping him away from, drifting talk.
Yeah, you're right.
Keep him distracted, and that's what we want, because we don't want him to, we don't want him to be brought back for round 2.
We're talking about drifting, Eddie. We're ready to get action underway. The first battle on the line is ready to rock and roll. It's Dwayne McKeever to take on Sultan Al-Qasimi.
Yeah, look, I mean,
what a lineup.
I think Sultan's going to really embrace this one. He knows he's coming up against one of the, the biggest names in European drifting. This is a 2-time IDC Championship winner. He's won 5 rounds of the Irish Drift Championship in his career. That is no mean feat. He's coming up against Sultan Al-Qasimi, who is new to the sport. He's only finding his feet. And he has just taken charge of this left-hand drive AE86 Corolla, and he has absolutely killing it in it. This is going to be an interesting battle. Can he keep with McKeever?
We're about to find out, Eddie, off the line. McKeever to leading Al-Qasimi, and look at this. Sultan Al-Qasimi right there with McKeever. McKeever on a very, very wide line, but look at Sultan bringing the fight to the 2-time IDC smoke machine. Dwayne McKeever now starts to pull a lead, Eddie, as he heads to the wall.
Heads to the wall, but Sultan heads there right with him. Just can't get close enough to get on the door, but he's keeping his proximity. Sultan right in this one. If he can just bring the fight a little bit more towards the end.
Al-Qasimi's done to make the dive, and he's heading on the door on the finish line. He's right with him.
What about that? Sultan Al-Qasimi putting it up to a 2-time IDC champion. Wow.
So yeah, just going to get that bumper off the front of Al-Qasimi's car. Looks like the other side on the cable tie was just ever so slightly loose, maybe. Didn't want it catching the wheels, but what a drive from Al-Qasimi. But listen, McKeever made that easy for Al-Qasimi. That lead run was absolutely phenomenal. That was a 90-point qualifying run without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, there's no denying that. But you know what? I expected there to be a far bigger gap there, if I'm going to be honest. And Sultan is proving that he is getting better and better every time he goes out on track, and he is going to be a real contender by the end of the season. He is going to lead in one of the best chase artists in the business right now. Can he pull a gap? Can McKeever get it on the door? He certainly can. He gets there early. Can he stay there?
Look at McKeever.
Big dive from McKeever now as Sultan tries to take it to the wall. They almost come together.
Look at McKeever all over the side of that Toyota Corolla. Oh, and McKeever almost avoiding contact. He's exchanging paint with Sultan as they go door to door. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, Rockingham raised the roof for Sultan Al-Qasimi and Dwayne McKeever. Eddie Power, what a battle. This is top 16 as they get out of the car, ladies and gentlemen. Raise the roof for Dwayne McKeever and Sultan Al-Qasimi. And is McKeever experiencing problems? Well, I mean, the silence drops.
The judges jump in their decisions, all 3 going in favor of Dwayne McKeever. But guys, put your hands together, raise the roof for Sultan Al-Qasimi. What about that? We got to go to our judges to get a decision. What a way to kick off the top 16.
Yeah, that was incredible. Dwayne just showing a masterclass of drifting, brilliant chasing, brilliant lead run. Sultan putting in all the effort he could, just not quite enough. Maybe sort of car's not quite out of it, but Sultan with a really good effort, trying to keep with him in the chase position there, but not quite, just dropping off the proximity. And Dwayne all over him chasing. But no, well deserved there for Dwayne.
Yes, well deserved for Dwayne, but that is not the last we will see of Al-Qasimi in this championship.
No
you
chance.
better believe it.
Yeah, that guy's going to come back with a vengeance. He's driving that car like I've never seen him drive a car before. So big things expecting from Sultan. We move it along. The next battle on the line, Matthew Denham to take on Paul Smokey Smith. I mean, listen, what a lineup. What an absolute lineup. Both Jap Speed driver, both sponsored by Maxxis Tyres. These guys going to be gunning. No team orders on the line, Eddie. It is who wins gets it. It is all in. Paul Smith to chase down Matt Denham for a place in the Grade A, and look at Paul Smith.
Yeah, real aggression from Smith right from the off, not letting Denham have an inch as he tries to take down his new teammate.
But look at Matt Denham, Eddie, all the way to that wide line. The judges asking for, but look at Smokey Smith. Smokey Smith, a very shallow angle. He starts to now make the dive on the door, but
yeah, Smith really starting to close in now on Denham as he gets door to door. They switch it back. Denham taking it right out to the wall as they cross the line, and certainly a very evenly matched pair there as they complete the first half of this battle. We will now switch them around, and it will be Smith to lead in Denham. But Denham not able to shake Smith on that first run in.
No, I mean, you know, Paul Smith's chase game, I mean, this guy, ex-champion, I mean, unbelievable driver. He's putting the fight to Matt Denham. Matt Denham now we know is a very, very good chase driver. Can he stick it on the door? We're about to find out. Judges just having a little bit of deliberation. You can see the turbo, Eddie, in the back bumper. You can see the hole in the back bumper, and you can see the turbo just sitting there. You know, that's going to be looking at, that was what Paul Smith was looking at earlier and hunting him down. So
yeah, the
we
turbo
get the thumbs up.
Putting the boot for it to create extra downforce.
We are good to go. It's Paul Smith to lead in Matt Denham for the second half.
Wow, look at this for aggression from Matt Denham.
They're way
off line here.
Yeah.
Paul Smith taking a very bad line through that first corner. And now they tried to recover it, but gets it out to the wall. Denham starting to lose some ground and having to sacrifice line to try and get onto the door of Paul Smith. But this one just hasn't been great. A very poor lead line here from Paul Smith, and Denham not being left with the easiest line to follow by any stretch of the imagination. As they cross the line, it'll be one to forget for the Team Jap Speed drivers on that particular run. And the important question to answer, as Matt Denham waves, both drivers are giving a little bit of a wave to each other, and of course the audience, who is going to take it through to the Great 8 to face Dwayne McKeever? The judges locking in their scores, locking in their decisions, as the drivers get out just to have a quick embrace. Slide him left for Smith, slide him right for Denham. Kieran, David and Ryan, it's unanimous. Denham is taking it through to the top 8, beating his new teammate, Paul Smith. Guys, make some noise. Show your appreciation for both of our Jap Speed drivers, Denham and Smith.
Thanks, guys. Good runs from both guys, but what it came down to is both made a similar mistake by cutting the track as they came to clip 6 towards the second wall run, or third wall run rather. So that kind of balanced them off. Smith has a poor first corner when he's in the chase position, in the lead position, and Denham, for me, had much more proximity over his chase run, so that was enough to edge him forward and get the win.
So there you go, going through to the Great 8. We move it along to the next battle. Kevin Quinn to take on Christian Burkhoffs. Not sure how this one could go, Eddie.
Yeah, this is one of those battles where when you look at it, you know, Kevin Quinn, the pro driver, but Burkhoff's making his way through to the pro-am. But of course, Kevin Quinn, a newbie in the sport, essentially doesn't have as much track time as you know, a lot of the other pros on the grid, and still finding his feet. He's only a good victory or a good round away, I think, from really gaining proper confidence and belief in his ability. But at the moment, he needs to overcome pro-am driver Burkhoffs. Can he shake him?
Now look at this, Burkhoffs fighting through the smoke on that nice line. Gain proximity, Kevin Quinn just deviating off the line ever so slightly. Now Burkhoffs trying to make a dive again as they go into this slowing zone. Quinn slows massively on clipping point 6. Burkhoffs keeps with him. They transition back through clipping point 7. Burkhoffs now to make a big dive onto the wall.
Yeah, a lot of slowing there from Kevin Quinn through as they came towards the wall. It is a slowing section of the track, but the judges will look at that one again just to see if there was any unnecessary slowing, so to speak, and because it did look as though Burkhoffs did need to make a correction based on the speed of Kevin Quinn. So we switch them around. It will be Burkhoffs to lead Quinn the second half of the battle.
So they are ready to go. Judges give the thumbs up. Our start line marshal Melks get the thumbs up from the drivers. It will be Burkhoffs to leading Quinn for a place in the Great 8. Eddie, it is on. And look at the aggression from Kevin Quinn as he sticks it to the door already on initiation.
Yeah, big dive onto the door from Kevin Quinn. And both drivers drop in wheels. They switch it onto the wall. Wow, what about that? Now, can he stay in it? Quinn is absolutely pinned it here. Sacrificing line though. But the line not perfect from Burkhoffs either. Now this is where it gets a little bit slow, and now the drivers get back on power for the final transition. Look at that, they almost trade paint on their bumpers as they cross the line. Rockingham, show your appreciation. Woo. It's starting to just get that.
It's getting good now, Eddie. That was unbelievable. That aggression from Kevin Quinn on initiation was just unbelievable. No risk, no reward. Who's it going to be, Burkhoffs or Quinn? Kieran says Quinn, David says Quinn, it's unanimous. Kevin Quinn gets the win. Kevin Quinn gets the win. A big shout out to Christian Burkhoff's unbelievable drive. He'll be over the moon. We go to you, judges.
In the first round there, Kevin had a great lead run, high-scoring lead run. And Christian maintained proximity, but only by actually offline. He was offline to keep proximity. So that was advantage to Kevin in the first one. And on the second, with Kevin chasing, he did come offline slightly, but he kept the same angle, and he was borderline on the 3-meter rule. So he gained a small advantage on the second one in the chase position. So over both runs was Kevin for us.
So there you go, Kevin Quinn taking it through, but not a bad weekend for the Pro-Am driver, Christian Burkhoffs. We got to move it on though, Ian. Another battle in the top 16 awaits. Evans versus Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mike Marshall, former champion. Guy's got an ultimate amount of seat time under his belt. Very, very highly respected driver. Oliver Evans, though, on the other hand, new young gun to the championship, bringing a fight, bringing a new air of chase driving. We see him in practice, absolutely killing it earlier. I'm pretty sure by the end of this battle, Mike Marshall is going to have a tyre mark on the door from Oliver Evans.
That's pretty much a given, yeah, guaranteed. But they say that the female fan base of drifting has increased tenfold since the introduction of Oliver Evans.
He's a handsome young fellow, that's not to be denied. Judges are ready, we get the thumbs up from our track marshals. It is good to go. Evans to lead in. Marshall, who's going to take this one? Look at this.
Evans looking fast here, Ian.
Yeah, look at Mike Marshall, a little waver there, holds out on it now, he starts to make the dive. Oliver Evans on a very good line, absolutely frat, but look at Mike Marshall. Oh, Mike Marshall!
Yeah, Mike Marshall really needed to bring the fight there, and he just overcooks it a little bit, making a big error, and it looks as though Oliver Evans can saunter off into the distance here and over the finish line without ever feeling in any way threatened from Marshall. He had the speed, he had the line, and you know what? You got to give it to Marshall. He threw everything he had at it. He knew he had to make a big dive, and he just couldn't hold that pace towards that wall, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a shame. He tried to carry the speed that Evans carried on that transition, and Evans has been doing that all weekend, an absolutely full throttle transition. And it's not easy to do, especially in that chase position, and, you know, Marshall just couldn't carry the speed, and then they're washing off track. We've swapped him around now. It's time for Evans to give chase. Mike Marshall needs to put down the lead run of a lifetime now and hope that Evans puts a foot wrong. He's been super consistent all weekend. How's this one going to play out? It's Marshall to lead in, Oliver Evans for a place in the Great 8. Here we go, Evans all over the back bumper and makes a huge dive on initiation. All the way with him, but Marshall way offline.
Yeah,
look at this!
Marshall's line very poor, Ian, and but Evans able to stick with him.
And look at Evans all over the side of that BMW 1 Series. Now Evans trying to get a little mark on the side of that car. Oh, almost contact! Oh, as it comes to contact, Mike Marshall shuts it down.
Yeah, interesting one there. You know, Evans overly aggressive, but that's the type of driving that he's helped him make his name. And just so intimidating, and Marshall just kind of shutting it off altogether. Not sure the judges will reward that. If we go to our Samco Sport replay just to get a second look at what happened here, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, Marshall way down off clipping point 2 there, and you could just see Evans giving him a little bit of room to manoeuvre there as Marshall heads towards the wall, misses out on that very wide line. And look at this, the aggression from Oliver Evans is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, look, and contact there from a different camera angle. So judges going over this now saying, did contact from Evans, you know, push Marshall off track? Was Evans overly aggressive? That's what the judges are going to be looking at now.
So was there contact on front wheel contact? Full frontal contact.
Leave it, Eddie, leave it. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Marshall had a very good line, though, look. Yeah, do you know what, Eddie? A very, very hard one to call there, you know, and I wouldn't want to be the man that makes that decision.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you're telling guys to be as aggressive as possible, and on the other hand, you're looking at a slowing section of the track, and you know, with the advantage that Evans had going into the second half of this battle, was there the need to be this aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, Evans kind of had it in the bag already, like you say, but it's Evans' style. Evans doesn't go out without a fight, and that's just the driver he is, Eddie. You know, it was practice earlier, and he was door-to-door with people, and I was like, he needs to rein it in. But you understand Oliver Evans as a driver, and you understand that he is 100% all the time, and that is how he gets these wins. And and gets where he is. But do you know what? I don't know if he's done too much this time and knocked himself out of the battle. Judges look like they've come to a decision. So we wait for the decision to come in. Who's it going to be? Oliver Evans or Mike Marshall to go through to face Kevin Quinn for a place in the final 4? Here we go. Left for Marshall, right for Evans. Kieran says Marshall, David says Marshall, Ryan says Marshall. Unanimous, Mike Marshall gets the win. Ladies and gentlemen, raise the roof for Oliver Evans. What a driver, what a young superstar we've got in UK drifting. Dave, we go back to you. I mean, Oliver Evans, he does it again.
Yeah, he almost pretty much knocked himself out there. He was sensational up to that point. And the one thing is, you can say Marshall slow. That is a slowing area of the track. The chase car must anticipate the lead car slowing there. Now, if he just rubbed into him or nudged into him, but what actually caused the big change in our hearts there when we look at the replay was the fact that his front wheel actually hit the front wheel of Marshall's car. So that was, we were saying, why did Marshall slow up and why didn't he keep drifting? He actually hit the front wheel of his car, so it would have knocked his hands off the steering wheel, or it may have, on another way, sort of, they stopped him, and he was worried about the wall, obviously, at that point as well. So we didn't blame Marshall for that. Evans, he was almost did too much there, and it actually was his detriment, so that was what knocked him out.
So there you go, Eddie. You know, Evans just overdriving it. You know, he could have reined it in 10%, but listen, it's not him, and that's not how he drives. So
yeah, and look, that's not the reason he didn't get to where he is by driving at 90%. So
exactly. So we move it along, Eddie, and on the line, a battle of two massive titans right now. Richard Grimrod, supercharged LSX under the bonnet of that E36 BMW from Driftworks. Next to him, the man who brings clouds on a sunny day, Aramis Vascalis, Westlake Tyres. This is going to be one smoky battle. Look at Vascalis.
Yeah, Vascalis. Oh, side-by-side contact.
Vascalis making contact with Grimrod on initiation. Grimrod stays in it. Grimrod is in it for the win. Look at this. Vascalis all over the side, and Vascalis complete on the wall. Look at this. Vascalis now hunting down the door of that Driftworks E36. Vascalis balances that car perfectly.
Yeah, Vascalis has to make a big sacrifice, but now makes another big dive. Will they come together again as they send up the smoke screen and cross the line? Rockingham makes some noise. What about that? I mean, they hadn't even got into the first clipping zone and there was contact on that one. Vascalis is a madman.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Richard Grimrod having a word there about Marshalls. Maybe a little issue with the car, not sure, but what aggression. Look at the replay. You guys in attendance, take a look at your eyes. The Samco Sport replay on the big screen. Look at Vascalis. He's in front of Grimrod on initiation. Bam! Tags him with the back wheel. Rubs his front wheel on the front bumper.
Grimrod's just like, you know what? I got this.
Grimrod's like, mate, you are not taking me down. I am hungry for a championship right now. It's been 2 years. Look at this, locking up the front of the car.
Boom.
Bam. And look at that. Absolutely rubs the two front wheels together. Grimrod stays in it and still actually manages to not stay on too bad of a line. He's shallow on clip 2, but then pulls it way back out. Unbelievable driving there from both of those guys. So it looks like they are ready to go. Just having a little check around the car. Vascalis out the car, just talking to Grimrod.
Yeah, obviously, you know, quite significant contact there. We want to make sure these cars are as safe as possible before they go back out on track. These guys reaching speeds of 60 miles per hour, throwing their car sideways onto a wall. You know, you don't want something broken when you're
you don't want to be firing a car into towards that grandstand at 80 mile an hour, you know, with a broken tie rod. So, looks like they're ready to go. Vascalis to leading Grimrod. This could be fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Rockingham, are you ready for this battle to go? Here we go. Aramis Vascalis to leading Richard Grimrod for a place in the Great Eight. Vascalis on big angle!
Vascalis almost backwards through the first corner.
Look at Vascalis. Grimrod has no answer ready.
Oh!
Wow! Wow! Fireworks at round 1 of the British Drift Championship 2018. Richard Grimrod left to ride it out. Vascalis out of the car. Wow.
Vascalis, what the kick.
Do you know what I think it is? Do you know what I think it is with
the anger?
No, I think Vascalis has broke a drive shaft.
Yeah.
And that has been
the story of his life.
Yeah, that has been his nemesis all year. The decision is in. Left for Vascalis, right for Grimrod. Ladies and gentlemen, Grimrod gets the win. Richard Grimrod advances through from Driftworks. Give him a round of applause. Aramis Vascalis, no end of car problems. I mean,
you can only imagine the frustration for Vascalis. This is a problem that he's having on a consistent...
All year, all year last year.
It plagued him in 2017.
I mean, he just can't seem to get rid of that beast that keeps plaguing him. We're going to head to the judges just on a quick one for that. I mean, Vascalis was on fire.
Yeah, Vascalis was absolutely mad. Like, I mean, the initiation was. I mean, it broke the rules. He should have initiated behind the lead car, but he was next to him. It was good to see, but it wasn't right. But there we go. And when he was leading, obviously, he just threw himself around. Whether the car broke or whatever happened, threw it too far. Grimrod made a little bit of contact, but due to Vascalis throwing it too far around and then backing out of the run, which gives the overall both runs to Grimrod.
So there you have it from our judges. We got to go back quickly to the pits to get an update on the search for Shane Lynch.
Are we on? All right. We are currently on the Shane hunt, and I've got sighting on the man himself. He's currently up on the balcony. He seems to be with some kind of security. I don't know if he's got any idea if I knows I'm here yet. Shane, we're going to make eyes on him. He's with he's with the gang members of Jap Speed currently, but we're going to make eyes and we're going to make an approach shortly. Back with you on the Shane hunt very, very soon. Bye, guys. Shh.
I don't know if you can call Jap Speed a gang.
You could.
Well, anywhere the gang go.
Yeah. So, we're going to keep you posted on the hunt for Shane Lynch. And, good work.
So we move it along. Jason Clark now to take on the Jap Speed gang. One of those members at the top of their game right now. Matt Carter sits on the line, ready to continue his championship reign. Can Jason Clark of Slide Motorsport take him down? We're about to find out.
The look of concentration on Carter's eyes there as the camera panned past him. Clark to lead in, your 2017 champion. What can the Team Slide Motorsport driver do? He can take it out to the wall. That's what he can do. Does Carter have an answer as they switch it through the midsection? Carter now looks to close the gap, looks to take it to the door.
Oh, you know what? Carter really needs to start pulling this in if he's going to make amends in this battle. Jason Clark doing an absolutely sterling job out front, and a nice transition back. Carter now starts to pull it in, needs to park it on the door. Doesn't really get exactly where we'd like to see Carter.
No, and certainly some of the best driving I've ever seen from Jason Clark. He is on it right now.
Yeah, Jason Clark, you know what? He's hungry for it. He progressed through from Pro-Am last year. He's in this Pro class now, and he needs to do everything he can to prove his worth. And you know what? A lead run like that is not to be sniffed at. That guy has got talent upon amounts of it. So they've swapped him around. Matt Carter now to lead. Jason Clark to give chase. Can Jason Clark stick that LS-powered RX-7 FD on the door? About 2017.
Yeah, well, look, it's going to be Carter's turn to put out an equally impressive lead run, because Clark was absolutely on it there. If that was a qualifying run, it would have been well up there in the 80s, or maybe even breaking into the 90s. Carter leaves the line. Clark to give chase. Carter looking much quicker this time around, but Clark jumps in behind him as they dive through that first corner.
And look at Jason Clark bringing the fight to our 2017 champion. Clark starts to make a dive, Eddie. Clark
looks to dive on the door. Carter takes it out to the wall. Now they start to slow as they come into the teardrop. Can Clark get on the door? Oh, the door hunter. They take it to the wall, tagging the wall.
Jason Clark bringing the fight to Matt Carter this year. Rockingham, give it up for Matt Carter and Jason Clark. What a battle.
Things really starting to hot up, and you know what? The 2017 champion, he really has a target on his back. People are raising their game when they go up against him.
I said this to him earlier. We did a little interview, and I said to him, everybody is gunning for you this year, dude, and they want what you've got. Unbelievable drive from Jason Clark. He really stepped up today. He put it on the line. He knew what he had to do. He knew that Matt Carter wasn't going to be a pushover. This isn't an easy opponent. This is your 2017 champion. Decision is in. Left for Carter, right for Clark. Who's going to take it home? Kieran says, David says Carter, Ryan says Carter. It's Matt Carter getting the win, going through. Unfortunately, Jason Clark out. Judges, we go to you. What a drive from the Slide Motorsport driver.
Yeah, very close one there. I actually went for Carter as well. I don't know why the graphics didn't agree with me. But anyway, yeah, Jason's lead run was good. Not the highest scoring run, but he missed a couple of clips, but it was pretty good. Matt didn't really have the proximity to take a big advantage. He had the opportunity there, but he didn't. But came away with a 6-4. And on the second one there, it was actually squaring up for one more time because because Jason had a really good, chase run, and it was just the tag up the wall really that actually brought it back to a 5-5. So by a very, very small margin, Matt takes it.
So, sorry, Eddie.
Stealing my lines.
Stealing your lines there. So there we go. That's just our line. That's what we do.
That's our line. That's
So
what we say. So there you have it.
Yeah, and we move it along to the next battle on the line, which will be Martin Richards to take on Matt Stevenson, another Slide Motorsport driver.
Yeah, in what I predict will be a very, very interesting battle here. Matt Stevenson really
stepping his game up.
Yeah, you know what? He had to. That first battle against Brett Perry was poor from both drivers, in my opinion. But both of them came back out then and stepped it up that much more. It looked like they wanted to win it, and Stevenson came out on top. Now he's going up against one of the veterans of British drifting.
Yeah, and I mean, and a guy that's got so much experience. He oozes it. Martin Richards sends it in, and Matt Stevenson to give chase. And look at Richards on that perfect line. But here it comes, Stevenson all over the side of that Driftworks R32. A good transition.
Very aggressive from Matt Stevenson here, and he is all over the Driftworks R32 skyline. Look at this big dive onto the door as they make little corrections here. Just having to waver, very slow section of the track there, but this is a man on a mission in Matthew Stevenson. Do you know what? These Team Slide Motorsport guys are out for blood.
They've had breakfast this morning. That's what I've been told.
They don't normally eat breakfast.
They don't normally eat breakfast. They've had breakfast, and that's it.
There you go.
Weetabix apparently.
Weetabix.
Weetabix is the key.
Dave Egan swears by all brand, but that's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day. We move it along. You know what? I want a drive from Matt Stevenson. Matt Stevenson absolutely on form, and you know what? To put a fight to someone like Martin Richards, who's European champion. That guy's got so much drift experience. It's not easy. So Martin Richards now going to return the favour. He chases down Stevenson in that lead position for a place in the Grade 8. Who's going to take it? Stevenson throws it down, and here comes Richards, wheel to wheel. Stevenson almost dropping wheels. Big angle from Stevenson on the transition.
Yeah, Stevenson getting a little bit out of shape there on the entry, and maybe penalised for that now. But can Richards bring the proximity here? Because you know what? Matt Stevenson had it all the way through. And it just doesn't seem to be the same answer here from Martin Richards. They take it across the line. Richards brings the fight just at the end there, Ian.
Yeah, you know what, for me, he kind of pulled it as soon as they come into clipping point 6 on that de-acceleration zone. Martin Richards started to gain that proximity. Once he got there, he was with him all the way across the finish line. But you know what, I'm not a judge, and I wouldn't want to judge that as a very, very tough battle. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Matt Stevenson and Martin Richards. What a drive from those guys. The decision is in. Left for Stevenson, right for Richards. Kieran says Richards. David Egan says Richards. Ryan says Richards. Martin Richards gets the win, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Matt Stevenson out of competition. Judges talk us through that one. Not what I expected.
Yeah, it was tough, but Stevenson is very aggressive all day, but he makes a huge error after the first corner, and to be honest, it was the worst error of the two runs. There was little wobbles here and there from both drivers, but that was big enough to swing it to Martin Richards' favour, and a good win for him.
So there you go, Eddie. Martin Richards getting the win, going through to that Grade 8, and one more battle left to go.
Yes, one more battle, which means one more spot in the Grade 8. Lee Scott taking on Paul Conlon. Do you know what? I wouldn't like to pick this one. Lee Scott has looked so impressive, but he's coming up against a veteran
of Irish.
Paul Conlon's been involved in drifting since its inception in Ireland, and you cannot count out that experience.
No, I mean, exactly. Yeah, Paul Conlon has a fountain of experience, and Lee Scott is a new guy on the block. But for me, Lee Scott is willing to take the risk. Lee Scott is the kind of driver that will go, you know what, I'll put my car on your door even if you're on the wrong line, and we're going to head into the concrete wall together side by side. Because Lee Scott has got that hunger to win a championship.
And on top of that, he has looked so impressively fast all weekend. With the exception of maybe yesterday afternoon when there was, some downpours of rain where he lost some grip. But I think, he's going to be leading in Conlon here, and he qualified in second position, let's not forget. Will Conlon have the pace to keep it? And we're about to find out. Look at that for a line. Dropping some wheels.
Conlon makes a big error, but Lee Scott drops wheels all the way to the wall for Lee Scott. Full throttle transition again. Conlon now. Bring it all the way out to that Funk Motorsport grandstand wall. Lee Scott stays in it, but Conlon now starts to make a dive onto the door.
Yeah, a couple of errors from Lee Scott opening the door for Paul Conlon, and Paul Conlon doing enough just to keep in the fight. They stay side by side as they cross the line, and certainly, Yeah, a little moment of madness on entry there. A couple of mistakes. Both guys dropping wheels off on that first corner, and
yeah,
it's a tight first run.
Yeah, Conlon's kind of held back on initiation because I think he thought that Lee Scott was going to go way off track when he sent it in, and you know, he did end up dropping wheels, but Conlon holding back kind of lost him a little bit of ground that he had to make up throughout the run. So it made him look very, very scrappy. We've swapped him around. It will be now Paul Conlon to lead in, Lee Scott for the final place in the Grade 8. Can the 18-year-old student continue his run? Can he take down the IDC legend? They get the thumbs up, they're off the line. It's Paul Conlon to lead in, Lee Scott for the final place in the Grade 8. And a late initiation from Conlon. Lee Scott right with him. Look at this, Lee Scott on the door of that S15, that Link ECU S15.
Yeah, Scott trying to bring the fight here now. Goes door to door with Conlon as they head by the grandstand. And look at this from Scott, the chase position, really where he is setting himself up to possibly take down one of the biggest names in the sport. Could we see the Pro-Am driver go through to the Grade 8? Grandstand makes some noise. Rockingham, show your appreciation. Conlon and Scott, one of them's going through to the Grade 8, one of them's going home early. We need a decision for our judges, but you know what? Few errors from both drivers in that one. It wasn't clean, but it was a really impressive chase run from Scott, and I think that could be enough to swing this one. But that being said, big errors on the first run. Slide him left for Conlon, slide him right for Scott. Kieran, David and Ryan, it's unanimous. Lee Scott's going through to the Grade 8. Give it up for your Pro-Am driver and show your appreciation for Paul Conlon.
We go to our judges. Judges, a close call.
Yeah, it's fairly close. I mean, in the first run there with Scott leading, it was a good lead run, other than the sort of a bit of a one wheel off between clip 1 and 2. He didn't back out of it. It was just a wheel off for a long time. Conlon had okay proximity. It wasn't great. When they switched it around, Lee just brought more of a battle to him, gained more proximity throughout the whole run. Paul put in a good lead run, but Lee just beat him on the proximity there.
So there you go, proximity being the key to winning that battle for Lee Scott. We move it along, Eddie, and we are now entering the Grade 8.
Yeah, looking towards that Grade 8. Our first battle is a pretty mouth-watering one. McKeever versus Denham.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, Denham's after taking down former champion Paul Smith.
But another thing, I just want to throw this out there. I don't want to curse
Throw it out there. Go on.
I'm going to throw it out there.
Go on.
Both of these cars have been noticeably unreliable.
Don't say it.
Matthew Denham has had problems. Dwayne McKeever has had problems.
We're not going to talk about problems.
Fingers crossed we don't have problems, but it's not to be noted that going back in history, McKeever has lost championships to the Shanahans through problems. Denham has lost a championship through problems. You know, both of these cars, highly strung, high horsepower, on the line. They're like driving 2 hand grenades around the track with no pins.
If one of these cars has problems, people are going to start thinking that this is scripted.
It's definitely not scripted, trust me.
No, but look, take it away from the problems that these guys have had in the past. These two guys are impressive, fast, aggressive drivers, and I think this is going to be a really exciting battle. Can Denham put it on the door of the 2-time IDC champion? Can he take down the man who's trying to keep a 100% BDC record? He has only ever competed in 1 round, and he dominated it here last season.
Yeah, McKeever looking to take that BDC championship this year. Can someone stop him? Could it be Denham? We're about to find out. McKeever to lead in Denham for a place in the final 4. Look at this, we are go. Matt Denham left for Denham a little bit, but Denham makes a big dive on initiation.
Yeah, big shoot forward from Denham to try and get onto the door, but now McKeever starts to put the foot down and tries to gain some ground on Denham, who makes an error as he comes out towards that wall zone in front of the grandstand. McKeever just looking flawless here as Denham struggles to keep with him. Nice transition back towards the wall from McKeever, and you know what? That's why he's a 2-time champion.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely flawless lead run there from Dwayne McKeever. Matthew Denham just looked like he lacked a little bit of pace, and he just couldn't really take the same line that McKeever was taking. McKeever was so wide, that car was literally on the outside line all the way around.
And the thing about it is, when you come up against Dwayne McKeever, the chances are he's more than likely going to be in the lead position first because of how strongly he qualifies. You know that you have to go close because
you know he's going to stick it on the door.
He is renowned for his chaseability, and he is one of the best in the game, and we are about to see a masterclass in chasing. Denham to lead in McKeever.
And McKeever starts to apply pressure, but Denham falls offline ever so slightly. Look at McKeever all over the side of that Jap Speed RX-8 now. Look at McKeever tagging the side of Denham's RX-8 all the way with him, Eddie. This is a masterclass.
Yeah, door to door the whole way around in. This is exactly how it's done. Denham with the hand out the window saying, bring it, McKeever, I want more. Wow!
Unbelievable. Rockingham Motor Speedway raised the roof.
Just when you think he's feeling the pressure, he puts his hand out the window. Cool, calm, collected. But you know what? You cannot take from that chase drive from Dwayne McKeever. Incredible display of car control. They're out of the cars. Show your appreciation as they hug it out. Good thing there's a couple of helmets in the way, stop them getting a little bit more intimate. Slide him left for Denham, slide him right for McKeever. Kieran, David and Ryan, it's unanimous. McKeever going through to the final four. We got to go to the judges for a decision. I don't know. Whoa. I'm exhausted.
Eddie, if anybody needs us to explain why Dwayne McKeever won that battle, just stop watching now.
So there you go, straight from the judges. I do believe we're going to go to the pits
for an interview.
Yep. Right, so I've managed to track Shane down. We're just having a quick interview. So taking a year out, a bit of off time, what have you got planned for this year?
Me and the boys have got a little music project coming on, so it's 25 years for us. So I just decided to take a year out from kind of motorsport in general. But you know, I find myself here and get away from it, can I? It's always good to kind of start the force of the championship and to see what's going on, who's out there, what cars are running, and who's looking good. So yeah, I'm kind of here in spirit and support.
Oh, it's excellent that the guys get to see you as well while you're here. Hopefully you've not met my co-host, who seems to be hanging around some. Well,
I've heard someone looking for me. Yeah, I've heard it. Who is he?
Oh, he's just a no. He's no one you need to really know about. So back to the Tower of Power.
I think Shane's going to disappear now. Shane is definitely going to disappear.
I sense a restraining order.
For round two, no Nathan is going to be a restraining order. Wow.
So anyway, we got to move on, but how do you top that? Kevin Quinn, he's going to be taking on Mike Marshall, but we have just seen, you know, one of the greatest displays of chase driving that you're likely to see. But you know what? We're only at grade 8. So many great battles still to come. Kevin Quinn and Marshall, who do you have for this one?
Do you know what? I'm a Mike Marshall fan through and through. You know, I support the British. They know that. Those guys and everybody in the UK knows I am for BDC, and I'm all about keeping it in the UK. But Kevin Quinn, for me, I'm a huge Kevin Quinn fan. I like his driving style, his aggression. Can Mike Marshall put it to him? We're about to find out off the line. Kevin Quinn to lead in Mike Marshall. Look at the aggression from Quinn. Mike Marshall is going to have to bring his A game, Eddie, if he's going to stick it to this Irishman.
Big separation here on entry already, and Quinn dropping a wheel over that line, and Marshall now looking to bring the fight. Quinn takes it nice and wide out to the wall. As you can hear the snap, crackle and pop of that Quinn Motorsport 180 SX. And Quinn just on an absolute stomper of a lead line, and Marshall with no answer, cutting the track here to try and gain proximity. They cross the line. Rockingham makes some noise for Kevin Quinn and Mike Marshall. Quinn definitely with the advantage for me after that one. Ian, very impressive qualifying line that he took in the lead position, and Marshall left with not much of an answer, had to sacrifice a lot of line.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the speed that Quinn carried on the initiation alone, I think, surprised Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall wasn't ready to initiate that quick. Kevin Quinn then from there on out didn't lose any ground. If anything, he gained more ground on Marshall. Marshall struggled to keep up with him. Let's see how it is when they spin it around. It'll be Mike Marshall now to lead out Kevin Quinn. Mike Marshall in that immaculately prepared 135 BMW, and Kevin Quinn in that 2JZ 700 horsepower Quinn's M Sport 180 SX. Judges just holding up proceedings here, Eddie. Judges just holding up the proceedings here, wanting to talk about it.
Yeah, and of course sometimes they need to, you know, just make a final decision on that first run before they have their judgment clouded, maybe on the next or you know, have additional things to think about on the second half of the battle. But they are ready to go. Marshall to lead in Quinn, and they fire through the first corner, but Marshall not getting wide enough on that outer zone.
No, not wide enough at all, and it gives Quinn the opportunity to now start gaining proximity. As Marshall takes it to the wall, Kevin Quinn is with him all the way as they accelerate into the de-acceleration zone. Marshall now slows down, Quinn right there with him. Marshall all the way out to the wall for clipping point 6. Quinn transitions onto the door and across the line, Rockingham. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah, Marshall just not able to get the same level of lead run there as Quinn did on his attempt, and you know, just sacrificing line throughout the course, giving Quinn that opportunity to get close to him. Looks as though the judges have a decision. Left for Marshall, right for Quinn. Kieran, David and Ryan, it's unanimous. Kevin Quinn taking it through to the final 4, where he'll meet good friend Dwayne McKeever. Quickly back to the judges just to talk us through that one. Quinn getting the nod over Marshall.
Yeah, Kevin really, he took that in his lead run. It was a really good lead run. Mike just not having an answer for him, no proximity, off the line, diving all over the place, not getting anywhere with it. Quinn took a small advantage again on his chase with good proximity. Mike putting a decent lead run for him to chase, but overall there, Kevin takes a win.
So there we go, Kevin Quinn advancing through, and like you say, Eddie, facing Dwayne McKeever for a place in the final. We move it along. Richard Grinrod to take on Matt Carter. These two, they've come head-to-head before. This is not new territory for these guys. The Driftworks sponsored driver will be looking to take down the 2017 champion.
In what could be described as a bit of a grudge match. These two guys do have a history together.
They've got a history, yeah, listen. And you know what? Matt Carter beat Richard Grinrod a couple of times last year. Can Grinrod overturn that? It's Matt Carter to chase down Grinrod for a place in the top 4. Grinrod with a big opposite flick, but look at Matt Carter now starting to rein him in already as they come through clipping points to the Door Hunter, earning his name last season. Can he keep it up this year? Fast transition from Grinrod, Eddie.
Yeah, very quick from both drivers, and now Carter starts to look like he's coming back into it. This is the driving that saw him take the top step on the podium so many times last year. A little bit of a love tap though. Grinrod keeps it in it though. He's well used to getting pushed around the circuit this weekend. Not interested in taking a dive. And contact again just as they came onto the wall, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, looked like a slow from Grinrod as he came into clipping point 6, and you know, Carter was like, I'm not slowing. I'm going to use you as my brake and to make it round this turn.
Quick smile from Malks. Our start line, Marshall, as we line them back up. Now, Carter to take chase. Not often you see Carter in the chase position on the in the lead position on the second run. Usually qualifying much higher up the order.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Carter now really going to have to put in the lead run of his life. Can Grinrod stick it to the door? We're about to find out. Smoking those Maxxis tyres from the start line. Matt Carter fires that car in. Grinrod, tentative entry.
Yeah, Grinrod offline there as well, and now washes wide just slightly as well. He's losing ground here on Matt Carter. Needs to be fast through this section to try and regain some ground and make a dive onto the door as they come down by the grandstand and teardrop. Look at this, Grinrod goes right to the door of Matt Carter as they throw it onto the wall. Now they switch back for the final time. Down in front of the grandstand, make some noise. Carter and Grinrod leaving it all out there, Ian.
Yeah, nothing left on the table for that one. You know, Grinrod absolutely laying it all on the line. He knew that he couldn't go down without a fight, and he brought the fight to Matt Carter. How this one's going to go, I don't even know.
Interesting driver number for Matt Carter this year.
Yeah, I think there's a mean. Ladies and gentlemen, raise the roof for these two guys that are out of the car. Matt Carter and Richard Grinrod putting it all on the line for your entertainment. Slide them left for Carter, right for Grinrod. Kieran, David, Ryan, it's unanimous. Matt Carter takes the win. Your 2017 champion takes down the Driftworks driver. A close call.
Yeah, the first run there, Richard had a reasonably good run up until clip 6 there on the wall, where he seemed to, I don't know, misshift or something. And Matt made very slight contact. Up to that point, it was a 6-4, but that was enough to bring it back to a 7-3. So Matt had a 7-3 on the first one. And the second one, Richard got proximity near the end, but he didn't have it for the first half of the track. So that was like a 6-4, very small advantage to Richard in the second one. But overall, Matt took it on the 7-3 in the first one.
So that advantage on the first run, enough for Matt Carter to take it through to the final 4, where he will face Martin Richards or Lee Scott. What a weekend it would be for Lee Scott if he could take down, well, first start, second place qualifier, takes down Paul Conlon. Now he's coming up against Martin Richards. If he beats Martin Richards, he'd have to beat Matt Carter, the 2017 champion, to take it to the final. But first up is Richards.
Whoa.
Scott to lead them in, but look at the aggression here from Richards. Whoa. He's all over Lee Scott, door to door. Scott almost goes off circuit, but just keeps it on.
Look at the aggression.
Back.
Look at the aggression from Martin Richards. Absolutely
contact into the wall. Richards almost pushes Scott into the wall. They keep it pinned. No backing down from Lee Scott here.
No, Lee Scott absolutely keeping it pinned, but Martin Richards all over the back end of that RB25 powered E46. What a run.
Wow. That one just exploded right from the off. It was like there was never separation between the two drivers, and Lee Scott has a fight on his hands. He's going to have to be really pushing hard. He's going to have to be, he can't avoid being more than a meter away from Martin Richards.
I mean, listen, Martin Richards, the initiation for me, that was where he gained all of the points in that half of the battle. He threw that car in absolutely wheel to wheel, door to door with Lee Scott through that first turn, and as soon as he was there, he didn't give it up. He just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. That's one way to win the battle, but let's see how it plays out as they go again. It's Richards to lead in Lee Scott. Can Lee Scott take down Martin Richards for a place in the top 4? Richards destroying cones on a wide line. Lee Scott, no answer so far. Richards takes it all the way to the wall. A fast transition, and Lee Scott bringing no fight.
Yeah, Scott just doesn't seem to have the pace to keep with Martin Richards. Scott on a very wide line now. Martin Richards starting to drop a couple of wheels, and a few errors just creeping into his run, but I'm not sure it's enough to make up for the massive ground and gap that he's pulled here over Lee Scott. They cross the line in a plume of smoke. So, as we wait for the cars to reappear.
Lee Scott just feeling the ground. Well, ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation. Martin Richards and Lee Scott. Lee Scott, what a drive, Eddie, this weekend. He's had qualifying second in that pro class, qualifying first yesterday in pro, and winning today, and then taking Martin Richards all the way through for a place in the top 4. Who's going to get it? Martin Richards is stoked, so is Lee Scott. Decision is in, left for Richards, right for Lee Scott. Kieran says Richards, Brian says Richards, David says Richards, unanimous, Martin Richards gets the win! Lee Scott gets knocked out. Martin Richards proving the victor in that one, David.
Yeah, so essentially there's two big errors there. Actually, very good driving from both. I mean, very exciting. They're really on the game now. Two big errors on, Scott backs out. He actually comes towards the wall in front of the grandstand, and he backs out. He knows he's going in the wall, so he backs out. That's when Richards makes contact. It's a slowing from the lead car, so you saw that as an error, even though Scott had a very good lead run. Martin Richards probably puts in the chase of his day, staying right with him throughout the whole course. Doesn't let the contact phase him too much and stays in it. So good advantage, 7-3 after the first run for Martin. On the second run, Martin drops 2 wheels. So if you look at, say, the error from Scott on the first one, that was an error from Richards on his lead, dropping 2 wheels, and then you put it back down to proximity, then Martin had much more proximity over his run, over Lee. So that was basically what swung it for us, and Martin going through.
Thanks, Dave. Me and Eddie are just locked in a bit of a battle right now. This is just pure concentration, Eddie. And do you want to know why? Because it's going to be an Englishman-Irishman final battle on the line. We have 2 IDC drivers, 2 BDC drivers. Who is going to go to the final for representing Ireland? Can it be Dwayne McKeever, or is it going to be Kevin Quinn, Eddie?
So hang on, you're letting us have the North now, are you?
Letting us have the North. What's the North?
The North. Yeah, Dwayne McKeever to take on good pal Kevin Quinn. This one is going to see fireworks. Thumbs up from Kevin Quinn. He's always having a good time. Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, Dwayne McKeever to lead in Kevin Quinn for a place in the final. Who's it going to be? Let's get into it. McKeever fires it in, and look at Kevin Quinn. Kevin Quinn is hungry for a podium this season.
Yeah, Kevin Quinn would like nothing more than to take a victory over Dwayne McKeever, but look at McKeever riding the wall. As Quinn needs to sacrifice line now to try and get back into this one. Big separation between the two drivers as McKeever just looks like he has that line dialed in since breakfast time this morning. He knows what he's doing, and Quinn just didn't have the pace in those Westlake tyres to keep with the Tri-Ace tyre driver. And you know what, Dwayne McKeever, he is on form right now.
Yeah, listen, that's a very on form Dwayne McKeever right there. Like you say, just Kevin Quinn didn't have the pace. The good initiation, started to make a dive, but just couldn't keep with him. McKeever got on the throttle nice and early and rode that wide line, full throttle transition into the wall, and absolutely drove away with the battle. How is this one going to play out? We know McKeever likes to stick it to the door. Is Quinn going to be able to outdrive the two-time IDC champion and the Northern Smoke Machine? We're going to find out. We've got the thumbs up from our drivers.
Yeah, Kevin Quinn's going to have to put in the run of his life here. Are we going to see another chase driving masterclass from Dwayne McKeever? McKeever certainly has the pace for Quinn. We saw that in the first run.
Whoa, look at this. Kevin Quinn fires off the start line, and he's not giving McKeever the opportunity to get on the door. McKeever now going to have to work for this. Kevin Quinn stands on the accelerator and smokes out, but look at McKeever!
Out of nowhere,
McKeever!
On the door! Quinn out the window!
Look at this from McKeever, bringing the fight to Kevin Quinn. McKeever all over the side of that. Quinn's contact on the wall.
More hands out the window from Kevin Quinn.
And
big
look at
switch transition.
What?
Rockingham! Make some noise! Wow.
Whoa. Wow. If you came this weekend to see some high-end drifting, then let us tell you now, these guys brought it. Show your appreciation, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Quinn and Dwayne McKeever.
Both drivers look a little bit deflated after that.
And listen, Kevin Quinn left off that start line like a scolded cat. McKeever came out of nowhere. Who's it going to be? Quinn, McKeever.
See a few little.
Kieran says McKeever. Dave says McKeever. Ryan says McKeever. It's a unanimous decision. Dwayne McKeever gets the win. We go back to our judges. A phenomenal chase drive there and lead from Dwayne McKeever.
I don't know why you keep coming to us, Ian, because these are really easy to judge on your own. Quinn massively outpaced by Dwayne. Actually, his big issue was he actually just didn't dive, and he actually made it, when he transitioned, he was so far behind, he actually backed out of going into the wall in front of the grandstand. It was kind of over at that point, and then what do you say about Dwayne McKeever? I mean, those guys have to go home on a ferry later on. There's going to be some words on how much damage was on Kevin Quinn's car after that run, but incredible stuff.
I mean, just phenomenal, and just that is just it.
There's not enough words in a dictionary
to explain how good that was, but we need to move it along. We need to find somebody to battle McKeever in the final. It will be Carter versus Richards for a place in the final, Eddie. I mean...
Yeah, and look, you know, Carter, 2017 champion, Richards coming with a desire to take that title from him. What better way to do it than at the first round to take him down in the semi-final, take it to the final against Dwayne McKeever. This is going to be a big one. Neither driver is going to back down here because you know what? There's the pride. There's a long history between these two drivers. They've been involved in British drifting right from the get-off.
Yeah.
And neither one of them will want to, you know, go easy on the other driver.
No, exactly. You know what? There's a lot on the stake. Like you say, there's a 2018 championship on the line, and Matt Carter wants to hold on to it. And you know what? I know Martin Richards wants it. You know, he wants that championship. He's been gunning for it for a long time and never ever managed to get it. Listen, it's going to be a hard-fought battle, but we are ready to go, I do believe, if we have some cars on the start line. So we've got no cars on the start line, Eddie. So what a perfect time to say a huge thank you to our sponsors.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, a lot of sponsors coming on board, helping out with the additions that we're making to the championship this year. A lot of money getting pumped into it, and it's exactly what we need. We got a lot of guys on board: AM Details, Brian James Trailer, Cosmos Racing, Funk Motorsport, Jap Speed, JDM Distro, Link ECU, Monster Energy, MTech Brakes, Samco Sport, Simpson Race Products, VP Racing Fuels, Zestino Tires. Without the help of all of these partners, this simply wouldn't be possible. And you know, year after year, event after event, the BDC is putting on some of the best drifting you're going to see worldwide. The standard is just getting raised every single time we come out on track here. And it's a testament to the drivers and the fans of the sport here.
Exactly. You know what, without these guys supporting it, you guys that come out here and stand in the cold and watch this, it makes the event what it is, and it makes you the drivers drive 10 times harder than what you could ever imagine. You know, nothing more than a great buzz when you guys cheer when they get out of the car. We can see Matt Carter there on the start line just warming his tyres. We're waiting for Martin Richards to arrive at the start line. Oh, do you know what, Eddie? It's going to be an unbelievable final, and do you know what? Someone gets to stand on that M-Tech Brakes podium at the end of this day and take home the maximum amount of points for this championship. Who's it going to be? You going to call it?
Look, it's hard to look past McKeever at the moment. I think certainly Carter and Richards, whichever one of them makes it to the final, has the ability to put it up to him, but I don't think we've seen that level of driving from either of them yet today, and I emphasize the word yet.
Yeah,
because these are big game drivers, and I do believe there is no better way to get your championship off to a start than to win the first round. Carter took the first round here last year, and it just set him on the right tone for the rest of the season. Neither of these guys is going to back down. I think this is where you see these two step up their game. They haven't performed, in my opinion, to their ability just yet today.
No, exactly. And you know what? I know Martin Richards has got it in him, and I know that Matt Carter's got it in him. Who is it going to be that's going to take McKeever to the final? Let's find out. We've got Matt Carter on the start line. We can see Martin Richards in the background there.
And I think what can happen is sometimes you can take the likes of Carter and Richards for granted, because what they do is they do enough to win.
Yeah.
They don't ever force the boat, whereas the likes of Dwayne McKeever is all out every time.
Yeah.
And it's either going to go right or it's going to go wrong. They're tactical, and you might be fooled into thinking that you don't have to push as hard as you do, and that's how they beat you.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself, Eddie. You hit the nail on the head right there. But we have got cars on the start line. It's R32 versus R32. It's Richards versus Carter. Who is going to take it to the final? Here we go. Driftworks leading out Jap Speed for a place in the final. Carter and Richards, and look at this. Richards on a perfect line, but here comes the door hunter, Eddie, hunting down the side of that Driftworks R32.
Yeah,
Matt Carter.
This is what we talked about when we said these guys were going to step up their game, taking it right to the wall, door to door, all the way around. Big contact! A love tap from Carter on the Driftworks R32. Richards stays in it. Carter stays in it. They lose some proximity. They take it over the line. What about that? We knew there was going to be fireworks. We knew they were going to be pushing it. Is there damage to the back of that R32 Driftworks Skyline?
Unbelievable. You know what, for me it just seemed like Carter didn't anticipate Richards to slow down that quick. We're going to go back to
Samco Sport replay.
For me, I think Richards slowed down very, very quickly, and Carter never anticipated it. Watch this. Bam. But you know what, fair play for Richards, keeps in it, and Carter, you know, absolutely dialed, keeps that car going. Doesn't really affect either driver's line. So judges just want to see a replay of this.
So judges looking at this and trying to decide or determine if Richards was on throttle. You can hear them arguing in the background here, Ian.
It's getting heated. It's getting heated up in the judging tower.
Yeah, it's two of the judges have a difference of opinion here. That's all we can say at the moment.
And one judge is staying very quiet, keeping himself to himself. So just going over this replay, we've got those guys lined back up on the start line. There is one more run to go in this battle. Who's it going to take it? Is it Richards? Is it Carter? There's only one way to find out, Eddie. Oh, judges want to see another replay. Judges asking for a replay again. And they're trying to say, does Martin Richards come off the accelerator? Does he come off for throttle? But you know what? Technically, he is allowed to come off throttle there because he's past clipping point 5. That is a de-acceleration zone on the track.
Yeah, and what they're looking at here as well, just for any of you watching at home or watching on the replay on the screen, is whether or not smoke stops coming from Martin Richards' tyres, because that would be a great indication as to whether or not he has taken his foot off the throttle.
Exactly.
That being said, as you say, Ian, coming into the slowing section of the circuit.
Yeah, you would kind of assume Martin Richards already to be scrubbing that speed. But judges still deliberating this one. Guys on the start line are ready to go.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is business end of the competition, and they don't want to make any mistakes. The concentration levels, you know, everybody's starting to get tired. It does become that little bit more difficult. You don't want to make a rash decision.
Exactly, and this is for a place in the final at the end of the day. This isn't just for a place in top 32. This is a place for the final. So you can see those guys on the start line are ready to go.
And as always, we do switch them around. It will be Carter to lead them in for the second half of this battle. Richards will give chase. Mouse gives the starting order side by side as they come down the straight as the Driftworks driver throws it onto the door. Carter through the first corner, door to door as they come by the first clip. Now Carter stands on the fast pedal and starts to pull again.
But Richards is right there, Eddie. Right there. As Carter now slows down. No contact this time from Richards as Carter stands on the accelerator, and now Richards makes the dive as he pushes Carter all the way across the finishing line. Rockingham, give it up for Matt Carter and Martin Richards.
Yeah, great stuff there from both drivers. Sorry, you know, almost choked halfway through. This is, yeah, voices are starting to suffer. The action has just been non-stop this weekend, and it's been such an exciting start to the 2018 season as they get out of their cars. Guys, make some noise for Matt Carter and Martin Richards. It's been one hell of a battle. One of them's going through to the final. One of them's going through to the third, fourth place playoff. It's going to be two Ireland versus England battles. Judges look like they're ready. Left for Carter, right for Richards. Who's going through to the final? Kieran, David and Ryan. Martin Richards taking it to the final! Make some noise for Martin Richards and show your appreciation for your 2017 champion. He's going to go through to the third and fourth place playoff. We got to go back to the judges because that was a tough call.
Yeah, it really all comes down to the first run. Martin, he's on a good line. Heads out to clip 5, which is fine. After clip 5, down to 6 is a slowing area, okay? So after clip 5, there's no sign of him actually like on the handbrake or anything else, but there's still smoke coming off his tires. And Matt comes in. Now Matt's on a slightly different line on the inside of the track a little bit. He seems to come in on throttle a lot longer and makes contact with Martin. So we had a couple of looks at the replay and we come to the conclusion there that we could see no obvious reason, there was no obvious sign of Martin slowing. So that one we blamed Matt for. So it wasn't a 10-0 or anything, but it was a big advantage to Martin up the first run, so it was an 8-2. The second one, Martin has a good chase. He's chasing and not a great line because Matt is actually off a couple of clips. So Martin takes a slight advantage on the second one.
So there we go. Martin Richards getting the win, Eddie, and going through to the final to face Dwayne McKeever. Matt Carter now has to prep himself and get ready to battle Kevin Quinn for the final step on the podium. I mean, things are getting heated now. And McKeever looks strong, Richards looks strong.
Yeah, look, we're down to the final two battles of the weekend, and it just... We're down to the final two battles, as we say. You know, it's going to be an incredible final, McKeever versus Richards. Who's going to take it to the top of the MTech Brakes podium? We are going to find out. Quinn and Carter battling it out for third and fourth place playoff. Could Carter leave the first round of his first title defense without a trophy? That would be, you know, one hell of a story. Quinn, we have talked about his potential, and there has been a real up in the standard of his driving. If he leaves here with a podium, I think that could be the spark for him just to raise his game that little bit more, and he'll become an even tougher competitor to come up against. It's been a very, very interesting weekend.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for Matt Carter to turn up this weekend and not go home with a trophy, it just goes to show something that everybody has turned up, you know, to take it away. And you know, could McKeever do it? He turned up and he said, I want to take this championship. So I do believe that Ben has an interview. So we're going to head down to Ben in the pits.
Right, so it's back to me. Fortunately, Nathan has gone missing, but I've kind of found his car, and in terms of reporting wise, he's not that clued up on what's happening and what even drifting is. But we seem to have found the cheeky little monkey sat in his car. So, what? Oh, he's waving. He's saying hello. Oh, he's saying, look. I think we've kind of upset him. If I'm honest, it looks like he's making his way away. I think he's had a little bit too many bad comments. And on that note, so it seems that Nathan's left for the day. So at the moment, the guys are getting the cars ready. All the guys at the pit crews are rushing around to get the tyres changed, get all the fuel put in them, give them a once-over and a check round as we go into an all-English, all-Irish battle. We got Matt Carter against the Quinn. So at the moment, it looks like we're ready to go back to the Tower of Power.
Thank you, Ben. And yeah, it looks as though.
I mean, I don't know what's happened down there, but Nathan's gone home.
Nathan's given up. Obviously upset that he couldn't get an interview with his
friend Shane.
His friend Shane. So, but yeah, look, we have two very exciting battles still to go. 3 spots on our MTech Break podium.
Yeah, and we're just going to go to our judges. Want to have a quick word with us before we head into these final 2 battles?
Yeah, if you were to look at a story from today, it's managed aggression. There was a lot of guys there today that probably would have gone further, only they went far too aggressive, made contact. We saw in Evans' battle, you know, a little bit of contact is fine with us here. We're okay with that. It's happened in a couple of battles, but when you hit the front wheel of a car or stop the steering of a car, that's a little bit too much. And it's same with Vasquez. And a couple of guys we sort of picked out earlier on couldn't manage that aggression, went a little bit too hard. There are 2 men that have all day been aggressive and still managed to be very, very good has been Richards and McKeever. I think from managing good lead run lines to being very aggressive in the chase, they've looked the strongest. I think that's definitely the strong final. I think that started to carve its way through the top 16. It's going to be very, very interesting. We were just saying, you know, Dwayne has been undefeated so far in the BDC, and Martin Richards has made that car a lot faster than it was last year. So we're expecting a very tough call on that one. And it's been an amazing day. I mean, some of the great battles have been in there. And as I said, we've had some tough calls to make, especially with contact and line. But it's important for a lot of people to remember that the obvious isn't always what we judge by. We judge by that criteria. And that's why we have to stay unbiased. We just have to go by what we've said in briefing. And a couple of times today, we brought that criteria in. It's good that we have it there. So especially when a tough call comes in, we can revert back to that.
You know, I just want to add to that. One unknown here is speed difference, because it's very hard to gauge how fast the car is over a run when it's going by itself. Now, Dwayne has looked very, very fast all day. Martin looks fast. I'm not sure Martin is fast enough. And this is probably where the difference is going to be. Will Martin have the pace to stay with Dwayne? Not sure. Yeah,
and it's the same with the Carter and Richards situation. You've got a car. It looks like he's got the faster car, and Richards, when we had that slowing area on the track. I mean, for us, when we don't see handbrake, we've called a couple of calls today based on being able to see the handbrake being pulled or be able to see the lack of smoke coming from the rear tires. Didn't occur in that instance, so very difficult for us to say Martin slowed illegally, and that's why he got the win there. But a lot of technical stuff today, and that goes to show how good these guys are, is that you're really splitting hairs when it comes to decisions, and I think the next couple of battles you're about to see are going to be exactly that again.
So you've heard it there, you know, not an easy judging criteria today. The battles have been hard and fast. And these guys have been pushing super, super hard. Everybody's hungry for it. Rockingham, are you ready for your 3rd and 4th place playoff?
Do you know what? I think we need a little bit more excitement. 2 battles remaining, guys. It has been an immense weekend. We've seen some incredible drifting. We need a little bit more reaction from you guys. Are you ready for your final battles of the day? That's better.
That's a bit better. Let's get ready to send our 3rd and 4th place playoff. It will be Kevin Quinn to lead in Matt Carter for the 3rd step on that MTech Breaks podium. Quinn sends it off the line.
Wow, look how fast Quinn is out of the traps, but now Carter starts to reel him in. Great line here from Kevin Quinn as he looks to take his first ever silverware home from British drifting. Carter though makes a big dive, he's back on the door. Yeah. This one's not over by any means.
Here comes Matt Carter. Look at Matt Carter hunting down the door there. Quinn's M Sport 180SX. Quinn shuts it down, gets back in it, but Carter is right there. Oh, and almost contact. Carter is door to the door.
Transition.
Wow.
Rockingham makes some noise. Your 2017 champion sticking it to the door of Kevin Quinn. Wow. You know, at the start of that one, it looked as though Carter was a sitting duck, and then all of a sudden, He just appears through the smoke and right onto the door of Kevin Quinn in that Quinn M Sport 180SX. Kevin Quinn is really growing into this one, but you know what? That 2017 champion is not out of this one just yet. Carter to lead them in for the second half of this battle. The final run of the day for these two guys. Who's going to take it to the final step of the podium? Will it be Carter? Will it be Quinn? They get the go.
Here we go, and look at Kevin Quinn door to door with Carter as Carter sends it in. Quinn is wheel to wheel with him. Carter on a very wide line. Kevin Quinn balancing that car inches as he comes with smoke on a big transition. Kevin Quinn
side by side as they come by the grandstand. Carter sticks the shoe in. Now he starts to pull a gap, but Quinn makes another dive. Big dive onto the door from Kevin Quinn. They stick it back around in front of the grandstand onto the wall. Woo!
Wow.
We said it was going to heat up.
And it just got hot. What a battle from those two guys. Unbelievable.
And of course, we will be potentially giving the result of this one. We won't be waiting. We won't be asking the judges if they just have a decision. It's either going to be a one more time, or we're going to find out who's taking it to the third step of the podium. Who's it going to be? They're outside the cars. The judges look like they're done deliberating. Will it be the 2017 champion? Will it be Kevin Quinn? Let's just get an opinion from the crowd. Who thinks Matt Carter won it? Who thinks Kevin Quinn won it? A lot of Kevin Quinn.
A lot of Kevin Quinn fans in the house.
A lot of Kevin Quinn fans. That's what happens, Matt, when you win a championship. People stop following you.
You know what, Kevin Quinn, for me, the underdog, and everybody loves an underdog. Kevin Quinn coming to this competition looking to hunt down Matt Carter, and he has done that no end. Did he take the win? Does he take the third step on that M-Tech Brakes podium? Judges, do we have a decision on this one? Oh, they're still deliberating it, Eddie. They're still discussing it.
It looked as though they were finished discussing it, but no, they are giving this one a little bit more thought. Not very clear cut. Two really impressive runs, though. Very enjoyable.
Rockingham, who wants to see him go one more time?
That was the question I forgot.
You did forget that question. I'd like to go and see him go one more time. Everybody kind of wants to see him go one more time. Everyone's here.
Ben Manuel, what do you think? Would you like to see him go one more time? We get the nod of approval.
We get the nod of approval from Matt Carter.
from Ben Manuel.
These guys waiting eagerly for the decision. Who's going to take it to the third step on that M-Tech Brakes podium?
What do you reckon? Do you think Matt and Kevin want to go one more time?
Oh, do you know what? Matt Carter would love to go one more time. I know he loves driving. I know he wants to. He's nodding. Kevin Quinn, do you want to go one more time? That's a no. That is a straight up no.
Kevin Quinn's like, do you know what?
Once was enough for me. Do we have it? It looks like we're getting some scores on the board, Eddie, from our judges. Who's it going to be? Kieran says one more time. David says one more time. Ryan says one more time. We're going one more time. Judges, that was a seriously good battle.
Yeah, it was. And you know, it's funny because Kevin Quinn's chase run was much better than Mark Carter's chase run. However, on his lead run, Quinn almost over-rotates in front of the wall in front of the grandstand and sort of shuts off before he comes to clip 6. You know what? He was better over the two runs, but you can't ignore those errors. And those two errors brought Carter to a 7-3 for us on the first run. And then he got himself well back into the fight on the second one. Quinn with a great chase run and a 7-3 again. That means we're going to see them one more time.
So the judges unable to split the difference.
I nearly fell over it. Was that good, Eddie?
Careful now.
Too excited.
We've no insurance. If anything happens to you, you're on your own.
Yeah, you know what? There is no split in a battle like that. You know, Kevin Quinn, like we say, leapt off that start line like a scalded cat. It looked like Matt Carter was left sleeping a part of it, but he came through, he got back on the door and pushed hard. And then, you know, for me, Carter's lead run was absolutely perfect, but he was right there. Quinn was door to door with him all day. I mean, like you say, could this be the point of the day where Matt Carter goes home without a trophy? Because Kevin Quinn is driving that well to take it.
He is, and I think, you know, when Kevin said, do you know what, I don't want to go one more time, he got the it looked as though he had the edge over Carter there on those two runs. Now Carter.
Yeah, now is Carter thinking to myself, oh, I could have took it.
I can just wind this up an extra % or two, you know. And if he does that, then Quinn has to match that again. And you know, it's not a case that Quinn's not capable of it. It's just he doesn't have the same experience. He doesn't have the experience of winning like Carter does. So, you know, little things like that kind of play in people's minds, and it's a big deal to take down a 2017 champion. It's a big deal to take away some silverware as well from, you know, a BDC event.
Exactly. So we're going to give it Egan. He's going to have a quick word again.
Yeah, we're just commenting on the next battle, or the one more time between Carter and Quinn, and essentially what we're saying is Quinn needs to sort out his lead run. His chasing is very, very good today, but his lead run was where he made the 2 big errors. And Carter sort of needs to get his game together. He's not being very aggressive in the chase position. It looks like he's struggling a little bit with the line of the track too. So, you know, for me, if Quinn can pull 2 runs, he looks stronger so far. But at the same time, Carter, as we've seen in the past, can pull it out when it really matters. So I think this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say, some people have clicked with this track. This track is very, very technical. It's difficult. There's transitions there that have to be done exactly in the right place to get it right. And sometimes people, you know, whether it's a car setup issue or whatever, sometimes a track just doesn't click. And for me today, having watched Matt for many years drifting, line is one of his strong points. He's always on point, and he hasn't been this weekend. He seems to be struggling a little bit, especially on clip 4, the wall there just in front of us here. Never seems to get that quite right. And he's always kind of struggling as he goes down the hill. So, you know, it's a tricky one.
We almost see a bit more commitment from Quinn as well. Like the track really rewards the commitment. And Quinn and Dwayne both coming out towards clip 4 absolutely flat, whereas Carter seems to be shying away from it that little bit. If Quinn can sort out that over-rotate just before clip 4 there, he'd be away.
Yeah, I think a game of chess now for the rest of this one, where the guys trying to sort their heads out. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. A close one on the first. Let's see what happens in the second.
Yeah, you can see Paul Conlon helping out Kevin Quinn as he changes his tyres and gets set for this one more time battle to see who's going to take it onto that 3rd step of the podium. Carter versus Quinn. I mean, you know, it's been a weekend full of exciting battles, full of drama, and you know, it's not over yet.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to kick off the 2018 championship with battles like this. And, you know, 10 years, Eddie, it's come such a long way. I was talking to somebody earlier, and you know, I said the first ever event in Teesside 10 years ago was so far from where we've come now. This championship, the driving standard is just phenomenal, you know, and it's a great... it's a great show of what everybody involved has put into it, because it's become an absolute pinnacle for people to come to, and it's what everybody you talk to wants to be a part of. So
exactly, and I think that's what helps you know, push the sport on, is that so many people are now starting to you know, wake up to drifting. They want to be involved in it. The more people that get involved, the higher the standard becomes, and you know, that's what allows us to put on such impressive shows. And I mean, how could you watch this and not be impressed? I mean, if you think about, you know, driving on a motorway and pulling your handbrake at 50, 60 miles per hour, and these guys are doing it inches from a concrete wall, door to door, side by side. It's incredible stuff. Here are ready to go. Quinn to lead in Carter. One more time. Who's going through? Quinn pulling a gap, but we saw this on the first run, then Carter really made. Carter making a big error. Carter washes wide, dropping wheels. Quinn pulling a big gap here now. Can he take it to the wall? Certainly can. As Carter doesn't have an answer yet.
No, Carter not bringing the fight at all in this first half of the battle. Kevin Quinn looks like he's absolutely driving away from it, but here comes Matt Carter now. Matt Carter bringing the fight as they push themselves all the way to the wall. Kevin Quinn looking stronger and stronger every run.
Yeah, and this is what we talk about Kevin Quinn. It's just that he's getting that extra 10 or 15%. He's learning every time. And he's starting to enjoy himself out there, and you know what? He's starting to believe that he can beat these guys. He believes that he can beat Matt Carter. And I don't think Matt Carter looks like he believes he can beat Kevin Quinn right now. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm going to say it, Carter doesn't look on form. Carter doesn't look like the Carter we see last year. And Kevin Quinn just looks very, very confident right now. We've swapped him around. It's Carter to lead in Quinn. This is it, the final run. A decision has to be made after this run. Our judges are ready. We're ready. Rockingham, are you ready?
Yeah, Carter needs the run of his life here if he's going to take it to the 3rd step of the podium. What can Quinn do? Look at the aggression from Kevin Quinn straight from the off, side by side as they come down the straight. Now Carter needs to take it wider. Quinn bringing the proximity, switches through the smoke. Carter runs wide. Quinn makes the big dive.
Oh!
Contact! Carter goes off track. Quinn waves the hand out the window.
Wow.
The media people nearly get knocked down. Samco replay. Here we go. What happened here?
And unsure of what happened there, Eddie. I could just see.
It looked as though did Carter have to back out? Did he think he was going into the wall, or was it just contact that? As we just
did Kevin Quinn's aggression push Matt Carter towards the wall? Matt Carter.
Yeah, could it have been Kevin Quinn's front wheel causing a little bit of an unsettlement to Carter's car?
Yeah, it looks like there's fire through the front wheel, so maybe a problem with Matt Carter's car. Look at this. Look at the front wheel. After there's contact with Kevin Quinn, just take a look at the big screen. You can see through the spokes of the front wheel. Look, there it is. Is there a problem with Matt Carter's car? Did it break down to, you know, is it technical breakdown? This would be such a shame to see right now. Matt Carter out of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation. Matt Carter and Kevin Quinn putting on a show for you today, putting their cars on the line. Who is going to take it? The third step on the MTech Brakes podium. Will it be Carter? Will it be Quinn?
Yeah, the two guys having a good discussion about it. I'd say it'd be quite interesting to hear what their take on it is. But it's in the judges' hands. The judges looking for a replay to see it again, the Samco Sport replay. And here you can see a bit of separation as they come towards clipping zone 4. Now, is there contact from Kevin Quinn's front wheel to the rear end of Carter? Little nudge there.
And nudges him. Nudges him and then hits him again. And do you know what I think? Personally, I think Matt Carter felt the contact, backed out of it because he was worried about getting the car stuck in the wall.
Yeah.
Look at this. Watch Matt Carter's hands on the steering wheel. Bam. You can see his head inside the car jolt as Kevin Quinn hits him. Kevin Quinn's contact, yeah, I mean, Carter gets out of it. He thinks he's going to end up in the wall.
Yeah, had the wall been any longer, and he certainly would have ended up in the wall, but...
So a tough decision for our judges right now as we await to see what is going on.
So all we do know is that no matter what the decision is, we will not see a one more time. No. The decision has to be made here and now by our judges. They have to find fault, and they have to determine fault and decide.
I mean, such a tough decision, Eddie. I mean, you know, a podium hangs in the balance here, and Kevin Quinn puts his hand out the window as he's signalling that, you know, it was my fault. I put contact on Carter. So a tough one for our judges. Just trying to get some information from Matt Carter and Kevin Quinn down there on the finish line. So getting some news.
Yeah, and look, we're going to let the judges feed this information, but I mean, the sportsmanship and the honesty in the sport of drifting is just phenomenal.
But taking the third step on the MTech Brakes podium, who's it going to be, Carter or Quinn? Kieran Hines says Kevin Quinn. David says Kevin Quinn. Ryan says Kevin Quinn. Kevin Quinn is your round 1 third place finalist. Judges, we need to come back to you. That was a very, very tough decision. And contact judges.
Yeah, I mean, we from looking at all the replays, we thought we had it sussed that Matt Carter's car either shut off or he lifted. Something was going wrong just before Kevin made the first contact. We got confirmation from Matt saying that, yeah, his car cut out is why he was already pointing the wheels off the track. Realistically, with that kind of contact, we'd expect both drivers to continue on. It wasn't that heavy, but obviously with Matt Carter's car already shut off, he just pulled off, which is the right thing to do, but obviously losing in the battle there.
Now, just to point out that from a sportsmanship point of view, that Matt Carter could have said anything there and said nothing had happened and there was contact, but Matt Carter to admit that his car shut off and that it was his fault. For us, we didn't go by that decision, but I'd commend him for the sportsmanship there.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it takes, he's lost the battle, you know, and he held his hands up and said, car cut out, that was it. Eddie, we need to move it along.
Yeah, look, in final battle of the day, and what a battle we are left with. Dwayne McKeever, two-time IDC champion, undefeated in British Drift Championship competition, coming up against Martin Richards, a veteran of UK drifting. He's coming here this year to take home the championship, but if he's going to do that, he's going to have to take down one of the best in the business. Thumb up for Martin Richards.
Rockingham Motor Speedway, grandstand. I want you to get on your feet. Grandstand, get on your feet for the final battle of the day. It's been a long, cold day. I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting UK drifting. Come on, grandstand, get on your feet. This is the final battle of the day. England versus Ireland. Who is going to take it? Who's an English fan?
Come on, Ireland.
Who's an Irish fan? Let's do this. The final battle of the day. Here we go. McKeever versus Richards for the final two steps on the MTech Brakes podium. McKeever to lead out Richards. Who's going to take it? Look at Richards bringing the fight to Dwayne McKeever from the initiation, Eddie.
Yeah, side by side all the way down the straight, but McKeever now starts to put the foot down. Can McKeever build an advantage as he takes it towards the wall of Richards? Taking a midline and losing massive ground here. It looks as though he doesn't have the pace that the judges were speaking of earlier for McKeever, who has looked so quick all day. Could McKeever be taking it to the top step of the podium? At the moment, Ian, it looks like Richards just doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, you know what, for me, yeah, Richards not having the pace in that car. McKeever absolutely drove away with the first half of that battle. We spin them straight back around. We get them on the start line. This is it, you know, this is possibly the last run of the day. Unless we go one more time, this is the last run of the day. Rockingham Motor Speedway.
Let them hear you.
Are you ready for the final run of the day? Raise the roof, Rockingham Motor Speedway. Here we go, Richards, McKeever. Who's going to take round one? McKeever, big aggression on initiation. Richards on a big angle, but look at Dwayne McKeever all over the quarter panel of that R32 Driftworks Skyline. McKeever, big dive on the door. McKeever all the way with Richards. Richards is on fire. Look at this, McKeever pushing Richards all the way to the final run. Rockingham, give it up for Martin Richards and Dwayne McKeever.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Such impressive stuff. What about that for a lead run from Martin Richards, making it easy for McKeever, but McKeever up to the task, doing his part. Grandstand, make some noise for your finalists, Martin Richards and Dwayne McKeever! Wow.
Eddie, I thought I was going to pass it out, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I just let you go with that one. The judges have a decision.
We would like to invite every single person in Rockingham down onto the track because we do have a decision.
So there we go, Eddie. I am going to head down with Dave Egan and do the podium celebrations. I just want to say thank you to everybody here at Rockingham Motor Speedway for braving the weather, coming out and supporting UK drifting. It's been a pleasure. I will be back in 2 seconds, Eddie. I'm going to leave it in your capable hands.
Of course, we would like to invite you all just to stay where you are and do join us for the podium ceremonies. You won't get to leave any quicker. A few more minutes and show your appreciation for these guys. They have fought tooth and nail all weekend. They've battled hard. They've braced the weather conditions. As of you guys, we really appreciate your attendance. And you know what? All that remains is to find out who is the winner. We got to say a big thank you, of course, to our sponsors, AM Details, Brian James Trader, Cosmos Racing, Funk Motorsport, Jap Speed, JDM Distro, Link ECU, Monster Energy, MTech Brakes, Samco Sport, Simpson Race Products, VP Racing Fuels, Zestino Tires. Without their help, none of this would be possible. The BDC continues to put on an incredible show, and we have kicked off the first round of 2018 in spectacular fashion. Who's going to win it? Dwayne McKeever or Martin Richards? We are about to find out, and I'm going to hand it over to Ian to take over the ceremony.
Thank you, Eddie. Yeah, I mean, what a day of driving. These guys put on a fantastic show, and as they pull up, guys, Rockingham, I know it's been a long day, but I want you to show your appreciation for your finalists here at round 1 of the 2018 championship. Before we get to the celebrations, I just want to say a huge thank you to Rockingham Motor Speedway for hosting this amazing day for us, all the staff here, all the staff at BDC. But we need to get this podium underway. Taking the 3rd step on the M-Tech Brakes podium, all the way from Ireland, Kevin Quinn! A hard-fought battle. These guys drove really hard, but only one of them can take it. Taking the 2nd step on the podium, Martin Richards, ladies and gentlemen. That means your round 1 2018 British Drift Championship winner is Dwayne McKeever. Rockingham Motor Speedway, show your appreciation for these guys. From me, Eddie, Nathan, Ben, and everybody in the tower, it's been amazing. We'll catch you at round 2. See you soon.